On this edition of Cars Tour Would You Rather, do you prefer syrup or sprinkles on your ice cream?
Sprinkles on the calories.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
On this edition of Cars Tour Would You Rather, on a cross-country road trip, would you rather drive or be the passenger?
Driver. I don't trust anybody else.
Probably go with driver. Probably just because I like to be doing something. I know passenger, you kind of just like look at your phone and stuff, but definitely driver. I feel like I like to drive quite a bit.
Driver first half, passenger second half. Just because.
Probably the passenger. I like doing the navigation and I'm real good at being a DJ in the car, so that's probably where I would be.
Driver. I like to be in control.
Definitely driver, because I don't like riding unless I'm sleeping.
Driver. I like to be in control of what I'm doing. I'd rather be the driver. I'd rather be the one in control.
Definitely the driver. Specifically because I like to be in control of what I'm doing at all times. And mainly I just don't trust other people driving.
The driver for sure. I'd like to drive.
Passenger. I like to ride, I don't know. Sleep maybe, who knows?
Got to be the driver. I like to be in control.
On this edition of Cars Tour Would You Rather, the age-old question, does the toilet paper go over or under?
Under. It's a self-explanatory one, I think. Yeah.
Over is just easier to get to. If it's on the underside, it's all up against the wall, and it's just weird.
The only way for it to be is over. No explanation needed.
However, it's sitting on the roll.
Be safe! Over, because it looks better that way.
Over. I don't know, just I can see it when I reach for it.
Oh, definitely over. Just how I grew up with it being that way, I guess. I don't know.
Over. That's not even a question.
Definitely over.
Over. No, it's just, I've always done it like that, I guess.
Over, all day.
Gotta go over the top. He's out.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Let's get right down to it. It's NORC on dirt. Get your goggles and Swiffer sweepers out because mud and dust will be flying through the air for 180 total laps this evening at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Oh, and we're fighting for championship chase points the entire time. NORC is live on Pit Stop TV. Welcome to the virtual Bristol, Tennessee. Eric Brennan and Emerson Arden alongside with me on the mic this evening. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and I welcome you all to this evening's Pit Stop TV coverage of the NORC iRacing Series. Last week's long-run battle to the Texas Checkers culminated in an upset win, putting Freddie De La Rosa in victory lane and Daniel Falkingham further ahead of everyone else. That said, Eric, this is the single best chance to swing things the other way and make up ground on Daniel if you're, say, anybody else in the field.
Absolutely, Andrew, and hello, everybody. I think we're about to be pretty well entertained tonight by the NORC crew, as we are each and every week. But as you mentioned, your lead in there's a lot of reason for this. We're 5 races away from seeing who's going to lay claim to the Season 13 championship. And so far, Daniel Falkingham, despite not being able to reach victory lane last week for what would have been, get this, the 8th time in 2021, the championship combatants, and extended the points lead by, as you see on your screen, 36 markers over Zoltan Herczeg. However, this is the wild card. This is the one race where things could go horribly wrong for Falkingham and company, but it's also the one race where I think if he's able to put all the pieces together, there may be no stopping him en route to this NORC title. I think this is the one event where everybody's had circled on their calendar as far as not knowing what to expect, very similar to what we saw when the Cup Series ran here in the spring. I think tonight's going to follow a similar tune here, and we've also got a lot of variables we're going to try to get up there and perhaps maybe join a name like a Freddie De La Rosa, who was, I wouldn't want to call him an upset winner last week, but I'll say a surprise winner as far as when it came down to not having any involvement in our chase with our 12 drivers. We may see that happen here tonight as well.
Certainly, I would use upset personally. Spoiler works, surprise works, whichever word you want to use. It was not expected, and it's a chance for Chad Oxendine to gain points in this chase, and he's 58 back. Now, it's looking like he may not have a chance to fight for a championship, but I think second is certainly on the table, and in the NORC iRacing Series, every position matters. Even if you don't win the championship, you want to beat anybody that you can in these standings. So even if you're Chad Oxendine sitting down there in 4th position right now, last week, maybe a bit of a bummer that you end up coming to the checkered flag and it's a non-chase driver that wins and Daniel still finishes in front of you. But this is a week to turn it around, and this is a week for anybody to turn things around. Zoltan Herczeg, John Barry, Chad Oxendine, Daniel Shutt, David Shutt, Brent Pancari, Sean Williams, Jared Darling, Zach Lindgren, Cody Miller. This is a chance for anybody in the chase to turn things around this week and start momentum in their direction. So this is where things have to happen. Realistically, this is where a change has to be made to everybody's season, to everybody's game plan, and they've got to go towards the front. Let's talk about the track we're at this evening. Of course, it is the Bristol Motor Speedway with dirt on top of it. Now, this is our track map for the pavement track, the concrete track. But Eric, things a bit different. The banking not quite the same because, well, it changes throughout the race as dirt gets moved around. And the other big thing is there's only one pit lane here, I do believe. We don't use that backstretch pit lane to my knowledge. I believe it's just the front stretch pit lane as qualifying is underway.
This is, when we talk about variables as far as racetracks, number one, any dirt track is it's a huge variable because of preparation and the way in which it's laid out. And as you mentioned, Andrew, it will change quite literally over time, more dramatically than what you would see on a pavement track, even with differing weather conditions. So we may see some drivers here who are hanging it out pretty aggressively, maybe trying to work the bottom side of the track or the top side, and later on in the night, we may see that groove move around, and we may see, I don't want to lean on this cliche too much, but it's definitely going to be evident tonight, comers and goers. We may also see a number of surprises when it comes to this qualifying session here, as one of the championship frontrunners, we're watching right here, John Berry, third in the championship points, lays down a flyer to go to P1 for now, and what we expect to be a rather quick qualifying session. And we'll see what some of the other competition could do with Herczeg now trying to lay down a flyer of his own.
And something a lot of drivers that have already spoken about, obviously, is the toughness of this racetrack, but also the way you drop into the corners. Cole Freilich likened this place to iRacing Super Speedway that we were at earlier in the season, where Ashley Molyneux picked up her first win in the NORC iRacing Series, saying that when you drop into the bottom side of the corner, it feels a lot like dropping into the bottom lane at iRacing Super Speedway. So these drivers are going to have to contend with a lot this evening. You can see right now the track is rather tacky. The lights will come on soon. It is rather dark currently, so that's a bit interesting, but that will help hold some moisture in the track. And as Zoltan finishes up his qualifying run, he goes 7th on the board. Let's take a look at our weather this evening. 82 degrees thereabouts, but the track is nice and cool with that sun not beating down. That's going to help these drivers as opposed to the NASCAR date back here in March. So that will help keep things pretty moist. You see here Sheldon Lockey, 13th place in the points, running his qualifying laps. And Sheldon has done a great job this season. May not have made the chase, but is doing a great job at holding things down in that 13th position, the first one outside of the chase. While these guys finish up their qualifying laps and while Sheldon Lockey goes for a spin cycle, let's also take a look at how these guys got here, Eric. 25 races in the season. We've been through 20 of them so far. This is race 21, 150 laps at Bristol, and we're getting ready to get it started.
And I say it all the time, not just because we partner up with NORC to showcase these races, but this is one of my most favorite sim racing schedules that you could ever draft. Of course, it's got your super speedways like Daytona, the iRacing Super Speedway event in round 9, the Talladega Duels are a staple on the schedule, Legacy Daytona. We've got your intermediates that you see we work our way through. The short tracks like a Chad Oxendine was normally so strong at, which is why we expect him to be a favorite here tonight. But we mentioned this Bristol dirt race. Once you get to around 19 through 25, that's the chase for the championship. The 7 races that decide who will reign supreme and wear the honors of a NORC champion. When you look at that grouping of races, this Bristol dirt race here at round 21, that truly is the variable. That truly is the wild card. Granted, Darlington is tough. Phoenix is tough. Chicagoland and Vegas are going to be a lot of fun. But in order for there to be a seismic shift, I think, as based on what we've seen so far in the first 20 races of this season, tonight is the night. And I'm excited to see, even after we wrap up our foray here on the dirt track at Bristol, the remaining 4 races are going to be incredibly competitive as the whole season have been, but they may not be as crazy as what we have here.
No, I don't think anything is going to match this craziness. I truly believe this is the biggest wild card in series history coming here on dirt. This is only the second dirt race in NORC history at all. And it's the first time in Xfinity Series cars. The last time we ran dirt in the NORC iRacing Series with trucks back in, I believe, Season 9. So it's been quite a while. I remember starting that race second to Tyler Ducharme. That was quite some time ago. Will Klein on the track now for qualifying. He goes up to second on the board. So Will Klein going to join John Berry on the front row. Falkingham finishing up his run. Was actually finished it up already, but getting some extra practice time. We've talked about this in BRP races before. When you're on dirt, running these extra laps are a big help. Good to see Daniel Falkingham making the most of his qualifying time in these 5 minutes to get a couple of laps down. Now, there's a lot to go on here. This is not straight from qualifying into the race, and I actually shouldn't have called Will Klein as the front row just yet. We have heat racing. We're on dirt. We got to go heat racing with these guys, which means we're changing things up a little bit from what you might be used to seeing, which means we'll read you the Heat 1 starting grid. Starting on pole, Eric, it's going to be John Berry with the fastest qualifying time. Starting at his outside for 15 laps of heat racing will be Jared Wishon. Brand new to the series, his fourth start, I do believe. Looking pretty good in that AlphaTauri number 27 car this evening. Starting third in heat number 1, it's Daniel Falkingham, point leader and by all means championship favorite and almost championship lock. Starting to the inside of Auto Club winner Brett Pancari. Starting 5th this evening at Zoltan Herczeg. Got a couple of wins in the season himself, alongside Josh Robin in the number 8 with a brand new paint scheme as well. We'll see that here soon. Starting in the 7th position, it's Sheldon Lockey in the 69, then Tommy Gossett to his outside, and starting 9th, it's everybody's favorite TCB in the 9th position with Michael Keithley to the outside.
Only got a few more rows left in his heat. Aaron Smith is back in his familiar number 70 entry with Spencer Owens lining up outside in car 12, starting in position number 12 outside of row 6. And rounding out the field is going to be the one of Jared Darling, who's essentially trying to stop the bleeding after an abysmal night in Texas last week. Was involved in not one but 2 incidents, cost him 4 spots in the championship standings. Also struggled in qualifying earlier tonight. He will ride shotgun on the field here in heat number 1 this evening.
Everybody trying to do their best to get going here. You can see these guys are struggling. Now, the track has been reset a good bit for qualifying, and you can see it's pretty tacky, pretty moist out there. We kind of already talked about it a little bit, but that means these drivers are going to be slipping and sliding around. It's not quite packed down, and it's not quite slick. So this will be a bit of a muddy little heat race, and Heat 2 should be as well, along with the start of our feature race here in a little bit. So in case you're wondering how we get to that total of 180 total laps, it's 15 for each heat. That's 30 total. Then 150 for our feature, which is weird to talk about with a NORC race.
It's a lot of different elements here. I do like the fact being that this is such a bit of a variable type of night. If you did struggle in qualifying, this is a chance for you to kind of right the ship like someone like a Jared Darling we just talked about. It's also an opportunity, though, for some of these front runners in the championship. That whole inside row, first 3 rows deep, that's your top 3 in the championship. They could start their night off on the wrong foot here should they overjudge their entry and exit to these corners on what is going to be differing track conditions to kick things off.
Coming down to turn number 3 very, very slowly is the entire field of 13 for heat number 1. John Berry leading the group, and we will momentarily be heat racing in the NORC iRacing series. This might be the first time we've done heat races in NORC, and coming to take the first green flag, it's Revan Lateralis, of course, on pole. Green flag flies. We're racing at Dirt Bristol. Three wide at a turn number 2. Falkingham digging down low, and he's already going for the race lead. He's almost got it, but not quite. John Berry powers back around the top side.
Berry's going to be able to lay claim to that top spot as they come across the line, but Falkingham with a full send all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack, now trying to slide up in front of Berry. He's not clear. They almost come together. He opens the door just in time for Berry to get back up alongside. This is great racing here at the head of the pack, on board with Brett Pancari. He's watching the front 4 double wide, 2 rows deep in front of him as Falkingham nips Berry at the line there.
Daniel Falkingham gets up into the lead, but here comes Revan on the top side. John Berry's got the lead now at a turn 3, rolling that top a little bit. Now, the bottom will be dominant as the night goes on, but running the top right now might pay dividends. As you can see, I might be a liar because the 20 car has just cleared the 74 on the stripe to go across the stripe that time, and you see the battle shaping up for third as well. Jared Washawn holding Zoltan Hergzeg at bay. This is an impressive run so far out of the 27 car from Elite Motorsports.
Watching these cars bob and weave as they come off the corner, it's exhausting me just watching the amount of work that these guys are having to do on the wheels here tonight, with these cars not necessarily being made for launching off into a dirt corner like this. So these guys are going to be worn out here tonight after both heat races, plus the 150-lap feature event later on. But somehow, some way, Daniel Falkingham finds himself in the lead, no matter what type of track we're on. There's that new paint scheme you were talking about there, Andrew, with Josh Robin. Love the Tide ride he's got tonight. Fan favorite TCB just behind, looking for a way around. Now top side, as Robin's got some damage on the back end of that car already.
He's got damage everywhere but the nose and the roof right now. That number 8 car trying to find a groove and work his way through this field. He's currently in the 8th spot right behind Tommy Gossett, who is in an interesting paint scheme, not one we're used to, and Daniel Falkingham continues to get faster. Now, this is something we're going to see throughout Heat 1 and Heat 2. This track is going to get really fast as this dirt gets compacted down and dries out just a little bit. They aren't slick tires. They might look like slick tires. They are modeled as dirt tires, and even with that tread, Eric, they're going to prefer a smoother surface, a more compacted surface with the moisture taken out just a little bit. But once it gets real compacted and real dry and real slick, that is going to get loose.
The one facet of this heat race that we're probably not going to see, but we'll certainly see when we come down to the feature, is, of course, the element potentially of lap traffic, which Falkingham is not going to have to endure, at least at this point in this race. Brett Pancari now trying to work the high side on Hergzeg. This is the battle for 4th, and Sheldon Lockey is someone who is a little bit of a variable here tonight. 13th in the standings, one driver missed the opportunity to get into the chase and vie for a championship, and he's someone who normally flexes his muscle on some of the super speedway events, but we talked about this being a wild card, and Lockey's running up there with race winners on the season, and that's multiple race winners. Pancari's in that club as well, and he's doing a great job there in that 69 tonight. tussling his way on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make it work, and a big slide off that quarter there out of 4. And Lockie is someone who's impressing, I'd say, early in the night.
And Sheldon did just enter the bottom side of turn 3 a little bit shallow. He's having some trouble down there, but is making the best of it. As you can see, several battles throughout the field. There is Tommy Gossett and Terrell Baker battling for 7th position. Josh Robin has dropped down, and Spencer Owens is stopped on the inside of the speedway. Hopefully he takes a tow here or gets righted, one of the two. I don't know if we have cautions, to be entirely honest with you. Dirt and heat races, not a usual thing in NORC, so there might be some question marks throughout the evening as Spencer Owens gets that ship righted and will continue on his merry way. Now lap 13 as Falkingham takes 3 to go.
Falkingham is somehow, we talked about the fact that he is one of the most dominant drivers of the season. We mean that in all sorts of disciplines. Dominator on the road courses, led every lap in both races there. Now putting himself in position to have a successful night here on dirt, maybe to ensure himself a pole shot if he should win this race. Tommy Gossett has been involved in an accident as well. Attrition starting to take its toll, but no such tale for this driver here. Maybe he will catch some lap traffic. That's Michael Keatley just in front of him as he comes to the line with 1 to go.
Rather interesting. Daniel Falkingham coming around to a lap car. The Tucson Soundart white flag is out as he goes purple that lap, and TCB is crashing up in front, saves the car on the bottom, might get in the way of Keithley. Daniel works on by both and will lap up to 9th place as he takes the checkered flag in heat number 1. It's all Daniel Falkingham, and he will start from the pole for the 2nd week in a row. Jared Washon comes across in 2nd, and calamity ensues after the checkers, but all of those positions are final.
Boy, that was a bit of a heart-stopping moment there for Falkingham on that final lap after TCB caught the wall, went all the way down to the apron, started to wash back up towards the top of the racetrack, and I bet he's happy that he got that breathtaking moment out of the way early and was able to gather it back up to go on to win that heat race, with heat number 2 beginning to stage their way on the front straightaway. I'll toss back over to Andrew, who has the starting lineup in hand to see who will vie for the outside of row number 1 for tonight's feature event.
And starting on the inside of row 1 for the heat race, for heat number 2, it's Will Klein in the number 48 with Howie Briss outside. These two the back end of our chase field. They've not had a great time of things in the chase, hoping to turn things around this evening. Zach Lindgren, originally out of Los Lunas, New Mexico, getting dirty this evening with the HMS number 85. He starts to the inside of Chad Oxendine for the 2nd week in a row, sporting that summer-themed number 66. Starting to the inside of row 3, it's going to be David Schutt, winless on the season, wants to finally grab a dub, and this might be the night to do it, alongside Bobby Chaney in the number 24. Starting 7th this evening, a bit of a dirt specialist himself, and he told me earlier he's not throwing back to Dave Blaney this evening, he's throwing back to, I'll be honest, I forget, but a dirt paint scheme, another Amoco paint scheme. Regardless, it's Cole Freilich starting from the inside of row 4 with Matt Hummel to his outside in the 93. Starting to the inside of row 5, Eric, is going to be Cody Miller, Daytona winner, with Sean Williams to his outside.
Back towards the tail of the pack, Tom Mercier, who's actually going to be in the pit lane for the start of this one, so he will not make it out for the start. And Hayes Booth outside, adorning the number 2 in tonight's contest. And Scott Shire in the 4 will round out our field for our 2nd and final heat race of the night to set the lineup for the 150 lapper for the NORC event here on Bristol Dirt.
Do want to give a big shout out to all of our partners here at Pit Stop TV. A lot of people make a lot of great things happen. Of course, Tucson Soundart, your picture, your music. Use promo code PitStopTV at checkout for 10% off of your order today. As well as Race Pace Setups, the official road setup provider of Pit Stop TV. Can't forget Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, where you deserve the best care that money can buy, as well as Whiplash Media, the official broadcast, camera, and graphic provider of Pit Stop TV, and BAM Racing Videos by a race fan for the racing community. Our 2 pace laps just about done and dusted, quite literally, as we get ready to take the 2nd green flag on the evening. It's Will Klein in the number 48 going to be leading us to the green flag here in just a few moments. The entire field getting ready to do it all over again. Well, for these guys, for the first time. The 2nd green flag on the evening will fly from Dirt Bristol, and we're back racing on the high banks in Tennessee. Already, Howie Briss with a great launch takes the race lead away. Here comes Oxendine. This groove has been run in a little bit now, so we're going to see these guys really use that bottom side. Will Klein clears himself once again for the race lead. the 48 back on top.
Will Klein pretty much at the line there. The super speedway expert in Will Klein, showing that he knows how to get it done on the dirt as well as he moves up into the top spot comfortably. Chad Oxendine is someone that we penciled in as potential favorite here tonight by virtue of his success. Plus, he mentioned in his post-race interview in Texas that he was hyped to get to this Bristol dirt track, and so far he's running fourth in line, kind of biding his time here behind Zach Lindgren, who runs up the track on the exit of the corner, and Oxendine is trying to make his way further forward while things settle out across the front four. Everybody trying to find their running room as problems for Matt Hummel as he has a problem up against the inside wall.
I believe some contact with Hayes Booth and or Cody Miller as Will Klein goes purple in heat number 2. There's Sean Williams. Good to see him working through the field. He goes to the bottom side of Bobby Chaney and takes that 7th position away, at least for the time being. You can see Cole Freilich up ahead, and some of these guys are starting to work up the racetrack. But I'll be honest, I think all of the grip is going to be down low throughout the course of the evening. That top might come in for a little bit. It'll be appetizing for a little while. It's going to be the only place that you can go for a little bit to try and make some moves. But these drivers will find that the bottom side is going to be best.
Seen a lot of cars go a little bit too high in the corner and catching the right rear on the outside retaining wall. So far, people are starting to bring it down off the cushion a little bit there. As we drop back here to what's a fight and start to materialize for fourth with David Shutt appearing to be a tick faster than that of Oxendine, as Howie Briss has a moment off the corner. He loses some ground to your leader, but Oxendine along with David Shutt, and not too far ahead of these two is that of Zach Lindgren holding down third, but Shutt is now trying to size him up here. And Andrew, I would have to imagine that trying to time a move on a track like this, where you have your hands full as much as these drivers, it's a little bit more difficult, I would imagine, than when this track does not have all this dirt covering it up for sure.
Yeah, throw consistency out the window. It's really tough to be consistent with these cars here on the dirt at Bristol as David Shutt makes that pass for now. You can see already a slick line developing on the bottom side of the racetrack, especially as the track changes and takes multiple forms, as Cole Freilich gets sideways at it too. As the track takes a couple of different looks throughout just any one section of the track, it's going to be increasingly difficult to stay consistent and to actually set up a move over the course of a couple of laps. You're going to have to make some bonsai moves that we usually encourage against. It's just going to be the only way to pass for some of these guys. You could roll up to somebody and not be able to pass them for lap after lap after lap, but you can also roll up to somebody and immediately pass them. It's just going to be a matter of, trying to survive. That is the name of the game this evening.
Straddling the edge of control on such a frequent basis at some point. I think after doing that over a period of time and getting away with it, and when I say getting away with it, I mean being able to lay down a quick lap, I think it builds confidence in a sense where you think you could be more aggressive than normal, and that normally encourages contact and conflict, which these drivers may not only have to deal with tonight, but for the rest of this NORC season. No conflict, though, for this driver. Will Klein, who is out front. That car that you see up ahead is that of Tom Mercier. Remember when we went to the starting lineup, Mercier was still on the pit lane here. We did see Daniel Falkingham encounter lap traffic at the end of the first heat race. It looks as though Will Klein may be in a similar sort of situation here as this race winds to a close. But the car on the move is car 5. David Shutt now setting up Zach Lindgren for third.
Yeah, David Shutt is a driver's driver, if you will, and that pairs with a driver's track. He is up to the inside of Zach Lindgren. You can see what I mean. He's struggled with Oxendine, but now quickly to the inside of the 85 car, and will make a move here into one, a little bit sideways, but holds on to it. What a send from David Shutt, and wow, car control certainly on the forefront for that driver. Getting into Zach, maybe a little bit of contact door to door. They hold things through 3 and 4, come across the line, and it's still the 85.
That is good stuff here. As Shutt is going to try the slider here in the corner. Wasn't quite clear. That shoves Lindgren up into the top of the racetrack, and that's going to be P3 for Shutt, while Will Klein is going to get set to come around for the white flag, and Klein is going to try to join Falkingham as a heat race winner on the night.
The Tucson Sound Art white flag out once more. We're on board with Zach Lindgren currently. This is for third. I don't think it's going to get any more exciting than that as Will Klein dives down to the bottom of turns 3 and 4 and will come out of the fourth corner and collect the checkered flag on the evening. Will Klein at the line wins heat number 2. Howie Briss in second. Then David Shutt, Zach Lindgren, Chad Oxendine, nabs Cole Freilich. What a finish across the line for 5th position.
Barely getting that 5th spot was that of Oxendine, who sustained some obvious damage to the right side and rear of that car late in the going. And that one, And I'll tell you what, I think that despite a couple of minor incidents, both heat races were relatively clean. Now we're going to double the size of the field. I believe these drivers are going to get a quick warm-up perhaps here, Andrew. Is that what we're about to see?
Yes, sir. We've got about 3 minutes for these drivers to go out there and get some warm-up. I can confirm we do not have the backstretch pits. You'll see everybody roll out of that pit lane on your screen now. While they get some laps under their belt on the newly refreshed track, we will take a step aside. Don't go anywhere. The feature race from NORC on dirt at Bristol Motor Speedway is on the way. 150 laps for championship points.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Welcome back to the virtual dirt Bristol Motor Speedway. Just over a half mile, right about 0.8 of a kilometer. Starting third in the show, how about that for the driver of the 27 to the inside of Howie Briss in the 97. Starting fifth this evening, it's John Barry. He qualified fastest but dropped a couple of spots in his heat, and will start to the inside of car 5 and David Schutt. Starting in 7th this evening at Bristol, it is Zoltan Herzeg. 4 wins on the season, starting to the inside of the winless New Mexican Zach Lindgren himself in the 85 car. Starting 9th this evening, it's Sheldon Lockie in the 69 to the inside of the 66 in Chad Oxendine.
Back in the 6th row on the bottom, Pankari, one of the winners in the 2021 season and championship hopefuls, comes into the night 6th in points, will line up 11th outside Cole Freilich and his familiar number 15 in 12th spot. 13th, Josh Robin adorning new paint in the Tide Ride tonight, and Bobby Chaney in the throwback entry. As far as paint color is concerned, the 24 will start in 14th position. Back now to row number 8, Jared Darling in the 1, trying to stop the slide he's been on the last couple of weeks with some bad luck. Outside Sean Williams in the 89 and 16th spot. 17th starting position will be Michael Keithley with Cody Miller, Daytona winner, outside in the 18th spot in car 28. And rounding out your top 20 here tonight, Terrell Baker, TCB in the 25, and Hayes Booth in car 2 in 20th.
Starting in the 21st position, it's the car 12, Spencer Owens, Tom Mercier to his outside. Starting in the 23rd spot, it's the number 10, Tommy Gossett with Matt Hummel to his outside in the 93. In the back row this evening is going to be Aaron Smith in the number 70 and Scott Shire in the number 4. Now, neither of them have made it to the racetrack so far this evening, but hopefully they do make it to the racetrack here in just a little bit. In fact, just a few moments, as we are ready to go green flag racing and under the lights nonetheless. How about this, boys? This is going to be fun. To get things started, of course, we've got to turn things over to the one, the only TCB. Buddy, take it away.
All right, boys. Here we are right here live at Bristol Dirt. Get your shovels out. Can I get a good old real dirty? Yeah!
I think TCB had to cut that yeehaw just a little bit short as he was going up through the gears, and the Bristol big screen getting in the way a little bit, but look at the slide for second. Will Klein loses a lot of time in turns 3 and 4 and already has Howie Briss up the inside.
It's going to box in. Jared Wishon on the bottom. How about Lindgren 3 wide again for second spot off the corner? Falkingham's got to be loving this. He's clear of this madness as Wishon bounces off of Howie Briss, shoves him wide. It's going to be Wishon moving up to third, Klein safely to second, and the bump and banging continues there for about fifth with Herczeg trying to work the bottom.
And teammates making a little bit of contact in 1 and 2 as Herczeg now gets an eyeful off that colorful 85 car down at a turn number 3. It's David Shutt on the inside of Howie Briss, though. A lot of similar red, white, and blue colors throughout the midpoint of the top 10 as, some more beating and banging further back, and Josh Robin is headed in the wrong direction early.
Even though the novelty of this event is the fact that they are on dirt on the track in which, of course, NORC has competed at many a times before. John Berry into the wall after contact with Freilich. Everybody trying to avoid. Berry loses multiple spots, and the driver who's third in points with a big hit early in this one.
He recovers, though. He and Cole Freilich alike recover and get back on their way further back in this field. That was about for the 10th position as Bobby Chaney and Josh Robin hit the wall simultaneously. And, John Berry gets sideways out of the corner. Everybody all over the place. There's no grip.
This is unbelievable. I have no idea how these guys have been able to keep these cars pointed in the right direction, and I'm starting to wonder if some of these guys are starting to get a little bit frustrated with one another with all the contact that's going on. Meanwhile, back up towards the front, Lindgren on the high side of the 85, Herczeg down low, sliding his way through. David Shutt was one of the fastest cars in the midfield as far as heat races tonight. He's starting to move his way forward. He's the car on the inside there of Lindgren now as they come out of this corner at turn 2. Things getting really dicey here in the top 5 as there's so much going on, it's hard to keep up with it all.
David Shutt makes that pass, gets up into 5th as here comes Zach Lindgren, maybe a fight back. Zach Lindgren, definitely somebody that does not like dirt racing very much, and he has let me know that many a times over the years, but he's doing a pretty good job of settling in this evening and doing a really bang-up job of just keeping that car clean so far. Not a scratch on it just yet as he runs in front of Howie Briss and Sheldon Locke. A couple of drivers to watch out for potentially as David Shutt throws a nasty slider on Zoltan Herczeg, moving the 96 at the racetrack.
Cost Herczeg at least one spot, maybe more, as they're starting to line up on the bottom. Herczeg trying to hold Lindgren a little bit tight there in the middle of the turn. He's got the edge as they come off the corner. Shutt's going to drive further away in 4th. Herczeg again tries to pinch down on Lindgren just a little bit there to retain that spot for now. Lindgren's going to slide his way up in there. This is good stuff, all going on for 5th.
And Daniel Falkingham, in the race that we thought would be the one chance to beat the driver of the 20 car, is clear of the field by a second and a half. That driver has put in the practice time. There's just no beating this guy. He's out. Look at the gap behind him. Let's take a look at it here from the gearbox. There's nobody. Will Klein is way back. They're 2 seconds now out of turn 4 as we eclipse lap 11.
2 impressive things that I noticed early in this race so far, one of which you hit the nail on the head, is the caution flies for the first time tonight, and that's going to eliminate the possibility of one of the things that I was about to mention, as Bobby Chaney has slowed the field.
Eric, hold on. Were you about to comment on the lack of yellows?
Indeed I was.
You pre-jinxed us.
I was going to point out the fact that this race went clean despite watching everybody hit everything that Falkingham was about to hit lap traffic, but Bobby Chaney put a stop to that quickly, so I'll take a notch there as far as jinxes on the season. That might be my 3rd or 4th.
Haven't you learned by now never to even think about a race going green flag? As this is what brings out caution number 1. Bobby Chaney on the inside of Cole Freilich, and it should happen here very, very soon. Maybe in about another half lap. It was down the backstretch. That was across the line. There, Cole Freilich. That's the slightest bit of contact to bring out a yellow that I have ever seen on dirt. We've seen a lot of those kinds of incidents with the BRPI Racing Series, just a little bit of contact with those late models, and it's similar here with the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars.
you're already on the edge of control when you're at that point in the corner, and it was just a little bit of a nudge there. You saw prior, it looked as though Cheney already lost the rear bumper cover on that car, so that'll be a souvenir for a virtual fan here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway for sure. But it does erase that lead we were just boasting about Daniel Falkingham, and I'm with you, Andrew. I know it's early. I'm very aware of the fact that we're about to hit lap number 15 of a 150-lap race, but not only has Falkingham been able to put himself in this position to gap the field by 2 seconds in just 13 laps, he's also keeping himself clear out of trouble. I'm amazed at the one track where there might have been a little bit of apprehension, I would say, in Falkingham's post-race interview after the strong run at Texas last week about this event. And throwing caution to the wind here, I think, is an understatement, as there's a lot of damage to Sean Williams' car here as he's on the pit lane.
Jared Darling also on the pit lane here. John Barry recently visited it, as well as Cole Freilich and Tommy Gossett. Tom Mercier are still stopped in the pit, so problems for those drivers as we're getting ready to go. I think 1 to green this time across the stripe, and if you've ever been to a racetrack across America, particularly an oval, you'll know that these drivers get a signal here. They get a furled yellow flag or green flag, depends on the track. I think I've seen both, honestly. But they get a furled flag pointing 1, and they get the signal to double up. That means caution lights have been extinguished, and these guys are getting ready to, well, in the case of Daniel Falkingham, choose the outside line and then restart. Everybody else file into their lines according to iRacing.com's Motorsport Simulation Race Control, and then go green flag here in just a few moments. Behind the official iRacing pace truck, Daniel Falkingham brings everybody back to the green flag here in just a couple of moments. Key things to watch on this restart: everybody getting sideways, and the 20 car as he takes off from the field. Getting ready for the iRacing.com green flag once more, and we're back rolling at Dirt Bristol. Look at that view of David Shutt through the first couple of corners, up through the gears, and now back down to the bottom side of turn 3. Shutt is going to the top side. He's making a move.
Maybe one of the only cars that Falkingham certainly does not want to see in his rear view, because Shutt has been fast tonight. We'll see what he can do, though, with one of the fastest drivers in the NORC field in 2021. Out the windshield as Shutt slides off the corner. We'll see what line each of them commit to here in 3 and 4. Caution's going to fly again. Got to crash.
And TCB is in trouble. I saw he and a couple of other drivers dropping through the running order. He was not alone in this one, and you can see no front end on that number 25 car. A lot of trouble here early for Terrell Baker. I'm not entirely surprised that we've seen a lot of big hits and a lot of body panels getting shed from these cars already, but it is a bit unfortunate nonetheless to see Terrell Baker involved in this one.
One of my favorite parts of our NORC broadcast is having TCB pop in as they come up to the green flag. Tonight he said, get your shovels out. Unfortunately, they're going to have to get the hammers out to try to get that car back in proper running order and formation. You see him here kind of pinned up to the high side. That's Herczeg and Briss about to go 3 wide, 96 and 97. We'll see if they have a coming together moment with Sheldon Lockey sliding up nearly 4 wide on the exit of the corner. He settles back out here outside of Howie Briss, and it looks as though he got into Sheldon Lockey, and as Lockey bounced off the wall, it collected TCB there and sent him down to the inside wall.
Yeah, there was some interesting stuff going on with the 96 and the 69. Interesting that those two cars are involved with each other. We'll take one more look at it here, watching Zoltan Herczeg, and definitely, I think, a little bit of netcode involved. And if you don't know what netcode means here on iRacing, well, let's just preface this by stating, of course, that 1s and 0s can only do so much. And yeah, you can see just a little bit of contact, and wow, that's a really weird-looking one. But netcode is prediction code, and it's the sim trying to predict where cars are going to go based on driver inputs, track conditions, and other kinds of forces exerted upon the cars. So when you've got that trying to be communicated across the world, literally, or at least in this case across the country, and to and from each other's sims and the iRacing servers, there will be small discrepancies and small input lags and things like that. That's generally what happens with netcode, and you see it at a lot of high G-force tracks, so Bristol is one of them. Even though we're not carrying a ton of speed through these corners, you will see it since we are on dirt. These cars are getting sideways and doing weird things, and it is really highly banked, so you're holding a lot of speed in the corners.
I think that's an exceptional explanation as to what netcode is. As someone who doesn't spend a lot of time on the sim, it took me a little bit to kind of understand the hows and the whys you see it in certain situations as opposed to others. And I'll harpen it to the cliche. Some days you're the bug, some days you're the windshield. And sometimes it'll be in your favor. Other days it will be against the competition. Tonight, unfortunately, it caught up a couple of those guys. But not for nothing, Andrew, the way this race is unfolding, I wouldn't rule them out of it yet. If you could stay on the lead lap, you may have a shot, because that may be the theme of the night, calamity.
Nobody is ruled out just yet as we get ready to go back green flag racing. This will be the second restart on the evening. Lap 23 coming to lap 24, but nobody's out of this race just yet until they park it anyways. And nobody has parked it just yet. A couple of drivers a lap down, but nobody's parked. Nobody's done. Nobody's stopped. And so, as it looks like we'll go around to get the the green flag in about one more quarter mile. We do have David Shutt to the inside of Daniel Falkingham this time around. Will Klein will restart third. Zach Lindgren to his outside in fourth. Jared Washon drops to fifth. Zoltan Hergzeg in sixth. You see the rest of the top 10 on your screen as they get ready to go back green. Daniel Falkingham up top, launches in that dirty, fluffy stuff up top. I can't believe I just said dirty stuff. It's a dirt track, but we're back green flag. And caution flag already. Problems in the back, and I think this might involve... Oh, it's TCB again.
That's unfortunate there. We were checking in on Spencer Owens, and we see TCB rolling backwards down the straightaway. He abruptly gets it righted and will try to rejoin the pack, but that's two for the last two that TCB has had some problems this time here. Hard to tell how much damage he sustained on this go-around, but watching that car roll in opposite direction, that's never a good sign. You see Jared Darling way down to the inside. Looks like Cole Freilich, Sean Williams. They bounce around in front of him. Oh, and it was a crash with Matt Hummel and company and Spencer Owens off the corner. And everybody was trying to scatter, and TCB was the one who ended up facing the inside wall.
Yeah, TCB's part of the incident more so came from reaction with Tommy Gossett and a little bit of contact there. This thing really sparks up with, as you mentioned, the 93 of Matt Hummel. Does not make many starts in the NORC iRacing Series these days, but back in the series nonetheless. The driver out of Indiana, problems here on lap 24, 25, whichever one it was. Oh, Michael Keithley just wiped him out.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there to see that level of contact that early off a restart, that early in this race. I mean, we're only 26 laps into an event that's going to go on for a little bit longer into the night than what I think we're accustomed to with these NORC broadcasts. And obviously, everybody has their hands full. There's got to be a little bit more give and take in some of these circumstances, especially this early on. Hopefully, we see that trend develop as the night goes on, but we're also going to see this racetrack continue to change. So the comfort level that these drivers have been able to establish this early in the race, albeit with 3 yellow flags, it's going to continue to be tested as the night unfolds, and I think that's one of the elements of this dirt race, Andrew, that I am fascinated about, is that the guy who's able to conquer this track in this race tonight is someone who literally had to be on their A-game all night long.
You mentioned the track changing. You can see the fluffy stuff has moved up the track, and there is a bit of a slick line forming throughout the good dirt. It looks like we're going green flag the next time through. It looks like that was the one to go signal for these drivers, but we will ask a driver on the next go-around what they're noticing in the changes to the track so far. So, if you're watching, which if you're hearing our voices, you definitely are, go ahead, and it looks like we might be going single-file restarts. Oh, goodness. This could change things. But if you're watching out there, and obviously you are if you're hearing my voice, go ahead and let us know who you would like us to talk to and ask about the track, as David Shutt is still hanging to the inside of Daniel Falkingham. Finally, he gets in line, and we're going single file starts just like NASCAR did. Daniel Falkingham going to bring us to the green flag. They're all lined up single file, and we're at green from Bristol on lap 29. Out of turn 2, already some side-by-side for third on back. The whole field getting very strung out, and that's certainly the goal of that restart, Eric.
I like the single file move because it allowed us to get through at least the first set of corners, maybe even the first lap, if the rest of the field trickle their way across the line, and indeed they will there, with Falkingham still holding steady. But David Schutt is going to put Falkingham to task. He is definitely going to start to pressure Falkingham in a way in which he may not have felt throughout most of this season. I like the line that Schutt's trying to exercise up towards the top of the racetrack. Not sure if it's time to go there just yet. That was a big slide by your leader that time. Cost him some momentum in the center of the corner. Schutt's got a good run here.
Yeah, David Schutt might be looking the best so far. Caution flies in the back, though, and this time it looks like Tommy Gossett and Spencer Owens might be the two catalysts in this one. They're the two slowest at the time of yellow, and you can see Tommy having to drive back by the pace car. Seems like a pretty good bet.
We may have only a couple of cars by the end of the night that is not missing, whether it be a front bumper cover or a rear bumper cover. With all the body work that these guys are shedding so early on. Here's Gossett behind that of Keithley, Pancari. Oh, everybody is out of control.
Oh!
That was Keithley, who got sideways, and did TCB thread the needle there? That was crazy.
He got bumped around, and he's going to pick up some more damage, I would imagine, but he does make it through for the most part. And I think for the most part is the big part of that. He makes it through mostly, almost, kind of, if you will. Put an asterisk on it, and this is TCB's point of view through this accident. You can see things shaking up, and it seems like Michael Keithley is just a little bit all over the place right now, sliding through the corner, up the racetrack. That Shrek 53 chasing it. There he gets Tommy Gossett, comes down, gets a little bit of Terrell Baker, who then gets hit a little bit by Tommy Gossett. But all things considered, that is crisis averted for Terrell.
It could have been so much worse. It could have been much worse for everybody. And I think the lingering fear for a guy like Daniel Falkingham or David Schutt as this race goes on is the fact that if that happens in the midst of a pack that he's catching, if we do get into a rhythm here, it's that hard to avoid a situation like that. Let's talk to somebody who's been in the heat of battle here tonight so far, like that of a Will Klein, who's been pretty much top three all throughout the night. And Will, it looks like you guys are working hard tonight. Is this fun, or is this really challenging?
It's been okay so far. We're expecting the yellows, but about halfway I'm going to start not having a fun time because I'm not very good on the slick, so I'm dreading that moment.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you bring up there, Will, that we kind of are leaning on the fact that this track is going to go through changes. Do you feel like it's gone through its first significant swing yet, or do we need more green flag racing before you guys got to start picking some different lines?
It's starting to slick up. It's getting to the point. We're going to have to start moving soon.
Well, it's fun to watch you keep that car up towards the front of the pack here. We want to wish you the best of luck. I know we're going back racing here shortly, and hopefully we catch up with you a little bit later on tonight, Will. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
And again, that is Will Klein, who was going to line up. We were single file the last time through. Looks like we may be doubling them back up here, or they will settle out single file, Andrew. I'll turn that over to you as our expert on our broadcast tonight. Nope, we're doubling them up. Here we go.
Double file, back green flag racing. 35 laps now in the books. Lap 36 begins, and that was double file. Everybody getting shaken up through 1 and 2. David Schutt in the second. Here comes Klein on the bottom side. We just spoke with the driver of the 48 car, and he's got something for the 5.
Interesting to note that he seemed to be in good spirits for the most part here, and he's working the bottom side of the racetrack, but was not anticipating the track to change in the facet that it has. Here's someone who is up towards the front in his heat race, Jared Wishon, trying to work the bottom as well, as we're starting to see, Andrew, most of the cars drift up to the high side as we're going to go yellow again.
And for, I think, the third time in a row, the 53 involved Michael Keithley. This is where you're having a rough night, and this is where the old NASCAR game spotters might be chattering at you, saying to just go ahead and pack it up. Certainly, I hope he continues, but it has been a rough night, is the point that I'm trying to get across here for Michael Keithley. You can see he's got no front bumper on this car. This is fresh off the restart, right behind the 1 and the 89 of Jared Darling and Sean Williams into turn 1, I believe that is, and he just over-rotates.
Very unfortunate that it was a single car incident of that nature, and it's hard for someone who lives in a glass house to throw stones here. I'd mentioned before, I do not have all that much time on a sim, especially in a dirt setting. I'm sure it would take me a while to kind of figure things out here, but in some sense, when you kind of realize it may not be your night, which that time may be coming here, I'd say, in the next third of this race, once we get to lap 50 or so, I think we're going to see some of these guys perhaps give up the ghost if they're struggling to that extent. But Keithley's going to give it another go here. But we're starting to see a lot of cars with a lot of damage. Here's Tommy Gossett with a new look to that number 10 car here tonight. He's going to stop for service under this caution flag. And the one thing that it pains me to see with this wave of yellow fever is I really want to see the battle between Falkingham and Schutt straight up over like a 10-lap run or so. I think those guys are pretty evenly matched if they could just log some laps together.
Yeah, these guys just need to get racing, though, I think. We saw a pretty good run off the start when everybody was obviously taking it easy, but now we've gotten some laps under our belts, and it seems like these guys are just maybe understanding that we're getting further into this race. I mean, they still have over 100 laps to go, but it seems like the drivers, as you can see Tommy Gossett narrowly escaping pit lane there, it seems like these drivers are kind of getting into the mentality that they've got to go, and they don't need to just yet. I can promise you that much. We've got plenty of time. Plenty of time in this race. These guys just need to log some laps. And I will take back something I said earlier on. It seems like the backstretch pit lane is in use. I just saw Tommy Gossett leave at a turn 3. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I didn't realize that the backstretch was used here at Bristol with the dirt configuration. I knew obviously it was for NASCAR, but interesting that on iRacing it's also used when, I don't know, I just didn't quite expect it. Point is, we're going green flag racing. Lap 41 will be complete this time by lap 42 will begin. How about Zach Lindgren up in the front here? This is something I did not expect. Daniel Falkingham, David Schutt, they make a bit of sense, but we're going to ride on board with the 85 car in a surprising P4 as we come to the restart. Lap 42 well and underway. Zoltan Herzog rolling up. As you can see, Will Klein gets clear for third. Everybody shaking things into turn 1. And John Barry up the racetrack in the wall just a little bit. Look at this hornet's nest.
Up top, Hayes Booth down low, slowly starting to work his way towards the front of the pack as Matt Hummel pounds the wall on the top side of the racetrack. He's able to keep it going. Sean Williams, I believe, is stuck in the wall behind him. Everybody's starting to push the envelope here as he pounds the wall again. This time, John Barry does the same in front of him.
Now, one thing that you don't want to see is drivers using the wall for an advantage. Hopefully he starts getting off of the wall, but it's been known before for iRacing drivers to get up there on the wall and actually use it to corral themselves into the corner as Chad Oxendine is around for the latest caution flag number 6.
Driver who came into the night with 2 wins under his belt this season, 4th in the standings, picked up 4 spots after the last race that we had in Texas. In fact, it's been a 4-point ebb and flow, or 4-position ebb and flow for Oxendine. Lost 4 spots after Indy, gained them back at Texas, and right now, second time we've seen the Summer Shandy colors on the 66, and he started to go sideways and then got tagged there by Bobby Chaney. That was very similar to a crash that we saw earlier tonight where Chaney got clipped by Cole Freilich. Very eerily similar how those incidents took place there. On one end, Chaney was the one who was on the downside of it. Here he was on the upside, but it was Oxendine who paid the price.
What do you say we take this opportunity and dial up the driver of the 66? We haven't talked to him very recently. It's been a little bit since he's placed in the top 3, but Chad Oxendine, it's been a little while since we've spoken to you. You just went around to cause this 6th yellow, but it wasn't by your own volition. What happened there?
Yeah, I just tried going in that turn on the bottom under Jared and just had to whoa up a little extra because it's slick down there and got just enough of a tap to send you. It doesn't take much to go around on the dirt. So I think we'll be all right. As long as I get my lap back here, we'll be all set. Just decided to pit there a few laps ago, put some fuel in it. Wasn't sure if we could make it all the way or not. But no, I think we'll be okay. We'll get faster as the track gets slicker.
And I was just about to ask, do you think you'll get your wave around here, or do you think iRacing is going to move you back?
I have no clue, to be honest with you. I thought I got going before the pace truck passed me, so I have no clue what's going to happen here. But I might ask John Barry for one, if not, because it's kind of an awkward situation there.
Well, we were talking about the track changing. How has the track changed so far? When we come into this evening thinking you might be one of the drivers to watch, so far it's not gone your way. And the track, you mentioned it, is getting slicker, and you think you'll get faster.
Yeah, I think the slicker it gets, the better it'll be for me. It was really gripped up here the first 30, 40 laps. So Everyone's just kind of running the bottom, middle groove, hard to pass. So when it slicks up, I think that the advantage will swing my way, and I think I'll be able to work toward the front. But we'll see. Daniel's awfully quick out there, so like always.
So, Chad Oxendine, darn near in last place right now, but there's 100 some odd laps for you to get moved up there, buddy. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the race.
Chad Oxendine running in the 23rd position. We've just had our first retirement of the race, and it comes from the other driver involved in this 6th yellow flag in Bobby Cheney. 6 cautions so far for 25, working on 26 laps. And across the line there, the caution lights are extinguished, and Chad Oxendine will get that lap back. That's what you like to see for the driver of the 66. So 23 cars remain. We're on to lap 49. We'll restart on lap 50. That puts us right at about a third of this race through this, or a third of the way through this race, rather, as the top 4, top 5, maybe even 6 or 7 really have not changed much. But I noticed Cody Miller, oddly enough, is working his way through the race. He's now into 8th for this restart as we work up to a third of the way through. Caution is finishing up. Green flag on the way. Falkingham waiting. Green flag back in the air. David Shutt, a great restart. Can't quite hold on to it. Some troubles there, and I think we've just gone back yellow. And yes, it looks like we have Spencer Owens with trouble.
Boy, it's almost like we're really not going to be able to get into a rhythm here so far tonight. We just hit, as you mentioned, on the lead up to that restart, the 1/3 distance mark, and the caution's going to fly again, and it's the car with the Menards yellow paint scheme, the number 12 of Spencer Owens, who had a problem here. It's starting to lose a little bit of count as to who was involved in what incident and how often and how much, but not quite sure what happened to Owens, though, here. This is quite bizarre.
So it looks like it wasn't Spencer. It looks like it happened earlier. Michael Keithley just gets going that quickly. So you can mark that one against me. It was Michael Keithley that's involved in this one, but just interesting how it all panned out.
We'll try to catch up on what happened to Keithley, who we've documented some struggles that he has had on the night. Tagged the front straightaway wall and then clobbers the inside wall down in turn 1. That wreck started at the start-finish line, it looked like.
The only good news here is nobody else is involved. Somehow, and I don't know how. Let's take an overhead view of all of that this time through. I mean, it's honestly incredible to me that nobody else is involved in this. This is from high above, gets the wall there, turns the car left, and somehow, wow, Tommy Gossett barely misses that. Wow.
Every time we talk to Chad Oxendine, it sounds like he's in a really good mood. He's one of the best interviews that we have here on the NORC series and the NORC side of things. You can rarely hear that guy in a bad mood, but I think if that 53 would have came across the bow of that car, may have been the one and only time have you ever heard Chad get upset. Fortunately for him, he was able to stay high, wide, and above it, as did Tommy Gossett, as you mentioned, but it does slow the field yet again.
And it changes our leader.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, yeah, I was about to say that's a shame because it kind of cooled off a hot and heavy battle we were having at the front, but it looks like David Shutt is going to become the first different leader of the night here by virtue of his pass bait on Falkingham and the timing of that yellow.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate timing if you're Daniel Falkingham, and this could be big in changing the dynamic of this race. It's tough when you get put behind like this to suddenly just get back up there. He's going to have to do the exact same thing that David Shutt just did to him and try and win the battle on a restart and just nose ahead and wait for the yellow. It's pretty clearly tough to pass if you're restarting second place. We've seen David Shutt try again for several attempts. This might be the best shot that David Shutt has to just get out front and stay out front. Who knows? We'll see. It's lap 54. We're coming around to take lap 55, and I believe caution lights should extinguish. Yes, we're getting the one-to-go signal, it does look like. And does David choose the outside? No. David Shutt choosing the bottom.
Surprised that Shutt's going to go with the bottom, but this does appear to be the move that allowed him to get up to and by Falkingham on the last restart. So we talked about driver's confidence level. Oh, there you go. We're going to be going single file here, so that's going to eliminate all that mystery. My goodness, what a night so far, Andrew. We still got almost 2/3 of this race left to go.
Yeah, what a night. That's one way to put it so far. Lap 55 going to finish up. Lap 56 on the way here. Eric Brennan and David Shutt, your leader. Look at this. These are throwback scenes for sure on a restart. Single file on the top side. Green flag is back out from Dirt Bristol. And everybody up on the top side for that restart. The bottom, I think, should come back to these drivers. But right now, you can see David Shutt still up top. Using that top side, putting the right rear in the fence.
I marvel the fact at some of these drivers on a track like this where oftentimes if you're the chaser, if you're the one going after the leader, you sometimes set up your corner entry based on where the car in front of you is doing so. And this is the first time tonight where Shutt has not had another car in front of him to gauge that off of. But that top side's rolling pretty good because here comes Will Klein. We heard from him earlier. Buckingham with a big skate up off the bottom. He's going to lose second. Zach Lindgren's going to try to keep pulling the top side around the point leader.
And we just might have a difference. Now, if you recall, any of you iRacers out there that raced on Bristol Dirt back in March, if you recall from NIS, C Fixed, A Fixed, any of the sort, even A Open potentially and C Open, the bottom side was the way to go. The way the tires were and the setups were and everything else, the bottom side was much better than the top. This setup is different. Obviously, the NASCAR Xfinity Series did not race on dirt back in March here at Bristol. They took an off weekend that week. So the setup had to be custom built for the NORC iRacing Series. The setup, it seems like, is lending itself to the good dirt on the top side. Who knows if that may change as we hit 60 laps in this race. That means 90 to go when they get back to the, I was going to say the stripe, but there is no stripe, is there? The flag stand, we'll say.
This is starting to remind me of the Truck Series races that they used to have at Eldora, where everybody would hug up against the wall, and in order to make a pass at this point in the race, like Will Klein's trying to do for the lead, you almost need to pull off the perfect slide job and get into the corner so aggressively that you clear the driver ahead by the time you get to the center. Klein may have to use some muscle here to make this happen, but he's leaving a lot of racing room between he and car 5, and that battle for the lead will commence down the straightaway. Buckingham tries to fill the hole up top here, and Buckingham will go back to second.
So Daniel Falkingham moving back up through this little bit of a front of the field, if you will, as Zach Lindgren taking a look potentially at third place. And, oh, there's some contact up ahead, I think. That moves David Shutt off the line, and Daniel Falkingham is there as a caution flag flies. This time, Hayes Booth and Tommy Gossett are involved.
For someone who we were enjoying watching his way up through the field, he too now is missing the rear bumper cover of that machine. We saw that happen to Bobby Chaney earlier in the night before his retirement. There's a number of cars that are missing body panels and parts, and you see Gossett is also one of them as well. Gossett is someone who's been involved in a handful of incidents tonight, also has been struggling to make his way out of that bottom portion of the field here on the Bristol dirt track. And you see Booth running up against the wall, Gossett down to the inside as they come off the corner. Typically, they all end up having a bit of a coming together, but this looks like, yeah, Hayes just steps out way sideways, just to the point he was going to gather it back in. The right front of Tommy Gossett's car caught the left rear of Hayes Booth, and that was all she wrote as far as sending those two sideways and drawing the yellow.
But how about the avoidance from Tom Mercier? We've not taken many onboards from this guy from up in Massachusetts. Or New Hampshire, one of the two. They're all the same up there in the New England area. And Tom gets a front row seat for this one, Eric. I mean, you can see Hayes starts to get sideways right around in front of him. Tommy hits him, and look at that avoidance.
Hayes Booth had a little bit more running room there. That would not have been a yellow. It was just wrong place, wrong time for Tommy Gossett and for Booth to finally catch the car. But an amazing job by Tom Mercier to get up and around those two as they spun down low. Mercier picked the high lane, gassed it up, and off he went. That is going to cool down this fight that we saw where everybody seemed to be committed to running the top side of the track. Will Klein tried to make the inside work to get the lead, cost him a spot to Falkingham, who goes back up in a second. But, Andrew, we've also seen Daniel kind of ping-pong off that outside retaining wall a couple of times. I wonder if that's some cause for concern should that continue throughout the remainder of this race. But if you average it out against the rest of the field, that's one of the better-looking cars in the race right now.
Yeah, I'd say the top 7, 8 maybe, they're the only cars that look any kind of good. You can see everybody else. Well, maybe with the exception of Chad Oxendine, actually. I noticed him back there, and his car is pretty well intact. Let's take a look through some of the field, actually. Actually, Cody Miller looks pretty good. Brett Pancari looking good. Chad Oxendine, that car is pretty well intact. So There are still a few hidden gems, diamonds in the rough, if you will, but for the most part, you've got to be up front in order to have a clean race car right now.
Being able to stay up front and out of trouble, especially if we keep getting these yellows. I do think that if we run enough green flag laps that we encounter the back half of the field and see lap traffic in the mix, that's going to spice things up. But we haven't had a run long enough to get there, and we're almost halfway. This may be the theme of the night here if this style of racing continues.
Maybe the theme? I think we're pretty quickly there. These guys are going to have to master restarts, and we've seen this before. Go back to Maxime Plant in the BRPI Racing Series in the last couple of seasons, where he's just had to maximize restarts, and boy, isn't that maximize restarts for Maxime Plant. That just kind of works together, as we'll take a green flag here momentarily for the NORC iRacing Series on dirt. Just so crazy to see these guys on dirt in Xfinity cars, but we're doing it. Back green flag racing from Bristol, and already Daniel Falkingham getting swallowed up 3 wide. Lindgren in the wall hard.
Lindgren came off the wall. I thought he was going to catch Falkingham there and cause a huge crash. They got away with it. That's going to allow Falkingham to move up in the second spot. Will Kleinsel trapped to the bottom, and surprise, surprise, looks like we're back under caution. Matt Hummel and Sean Williams perhaps having a bit of a disagreement.
Tempers are flaring, boys. Tempers are flaring. Oh, Matt Hummel might be sitting a week from that one.
Now, we noticed right away as we cut to this quickly that those two were locked together, and it was not due to the cars physically being stuck together. Sean Williams appeared relatively hot at Matt Hummel, and we may not be done yet here if Williams continues this. He is coming up pretty quickly, going to pass the pace truck here. Sean Williams, remember, 7th in the points. He is one of the chase drivers, and he and Matt Hummel made contact on more than one occasion here after this crash to slow the field just shy of lap 70.
Sean is usually the bigger man in a lot of situations. He's a big role model to follow with. He streams for a lot of people on Twitch. But this might be a case where he goes and exacts a bit of revenge. You can see the red car up ahead. That is Matt Hummel. What does Sean Williams do when he gets there? Before we take a replay, we've got to find out. And here we go. Tempers are flaring at Bristol.
Not sure if we're quite done yet here. We'll see what Williams elects to do now that he made that one bit of contact. I think that was all he wanted to do, was send the point home. But now we get to have the fun duty here of seeing who was at fault between these two. This is on board with Sean Williams, albeit briefly. Now we cut back here with Williams clearly by himself. I actually don't even see Matt Hummel anywhere in the frame just yet. Oh, Hummel bounced off a Cole Frelick, came off the wall. Not quite sure why Williams would have been that upset at Hummel for that one. I understand that it was a little bit of misfortune there for Williams, but that happened a ways up ahead of him, and he just had nowhere to go.
So this is going way further back, and actually we might not have hit the right point, so we might just have to abandon that one. But what I am going to tell you is that Sean Williams is a lot like Matt Kenseth. He doesn't just get mad. You've got to do a lot to get Sean Williams upset. Something had to have happened earlier on, and I mean, he's got to feel somewhat pretty justified in order to take that kind of action. He does not just do that to people, as it looks like he's being forced to wait on the pace truck and get put one lap down. There he goes, the pace truck, and he'll have to drop through the field. But again, Sean Williams, a lot like Matt Kenseth, that doesn't just happen. There's usually a reason.
Totally incredible to see someone of that nature. And granted, you know him more than I do, but Sean Williams does appear to be someone who is typically pretty mild-mannered and tempered and doesn't often put that car in precarious positions. And tonight, it has just been a rough stretch for a lot of these guys. And what I do like about this, though, Andrew, it's going to put those two in close proximity with one another yet again for this upcoming restart. So we may not be done yet. We're almost halfway home in this race. It's been a little bit frantic. It's been a little bit hectic and physical, and we're only halfway through. We got a long way to go.
I'm just going to reiterate, tempers are flaring, boys. We're going to have some fun here on the back end of this race. We're almost halfway, as you mentioned, and things are getting spicy. I can't wait to see how this one goes for some of these drivers. Coming back to the green flag, David Shutt going to lead us down to the green. And everybody's single file in behind. You can see him rolling past our static shots and the speed shot, and we're back green from Bristol. Couple of cars in the fence there, getting pretty accustomed to that. Pretty used to seeing that on dirt when NASCAR takes to the gravel anyways, as Zach Lindgren is up to third, battling here with Will Klein, and he's got the spot across the stripe. Lap 75 underway. Caution flag, never mind.
This is hectic. But if yellows were your drinking word of the night, you're in trouble. And no surprise that it's a Summer Shandy car that leads us into that segment. We're halfway, and Chad Oxendine finds himself in trouble. The miraculous thing is the fact that Oxendine's been involved in a couple of skirmishes tonight, but that car does not look in all that bad of a shape. This goes back to the restart. He's sandwiched between that of Cody Miller and Cole Freilich. A little bit of damage already there to the left rear of Oxendine's car by virtue of one of those aforementioned incidents here, but let's see what in fact happened here after the single file restart. We've seen drivers lose it on their own. We've seen drivers get punted. Survey says for Oxendine, he's trying to stay off of Cody Miller, a little bit sideways here off of 2. It's 3 and 4 that's going to come out and bite him, and he gets a nudge from Freilich.
And Freilich was the other part of that contact initially with Matt Hummel on the previous yellow. So Freilich being involved in another one will not be taken lightly by drivers. That's all I'm going to say there. What we do want to do here under this yellow, though, is actually go ahead and, now that he's had a moment to try and mellow out a little bit, I do want to speak to Sean Williams and get some of the backstory on that. Tempers are flaring. We've got to talk about some of it. Now, Sean, I know you're a bit like Matt Kenseth usually. It takes a lot to get you upset, and usually you have a pretty good reason as to why you're upset. We saw the extracurricular activity with you and Matt Hummel. What's going on?
I don't know, man. I try not to get mad. You know, we're here. It's Bristol dirt. You don't know what's going to happen, but, like, every time he shows up, he's just a disaster, and he's only done, like, 2 races. So, you know, go away. You know what I mean?
Hey, fair enough. Was there anything particular in this race as you're actually pacing to the inside of him right now, and it looks like, I guess, coming down the pit lane? Was there anything in particular, or just him being involved in some crashes?
At the very start, he put me in the wall, and I know it was an accident, but it's like, dude, what are you doing? So I was just blowing off some steam. We're just getting some damage fixed now. We're good.
Well, let's talk about some more positives then. Of course, you come in this evening with a chance to continue to battle through the chase field. I mean, it doesn't look like anybody's going to go and catch Daniel Falkingham, but still a chance to move up through the pack. How do you try and approach the back half of this race? We're into the back half now, somehow, and you've got a long ways to go.
It's really tough, especially I keep pitting now just to fix damage so it doesn't compound and hopefully it doesn't get worse. I didn't do myself any favors with Hummel, but eventually the pitting is going to stop. We're just going to stay out and we're going to see if we can make some moves to get something done, but I don't know. We need some help, but if anything, this is pretty fun. I'm having a good time.
Well, buddy, I got one more question for you. It does seem like you guys are in the rev range to shift. Are you guys shifting in the corners? I've heard it a couple of times, and I'm not sure if iRacing is bugging out.
That might be a bug. I don't think anyone's shifting. I think we're all just leaving it in fourth. I'm pretty sure. At least I know everyone back here is.
There you go. Sean Williams leaving it in fourth. It's going to restart here from about tail end of the field, buddy. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, son.
Sean Williams going to go back green flag racing. You can see all the cars in front of him as David Shutt is back green flag. Now, I'd mentioned it sounded like these drivers were shifting. I had to go ahead and ask because iRacing does sometimes give you the sound of driving through the gears, even though they might not actually be going through the gears. It happens when they get down to low rev ranges, so that tells you how slow these drivers are getting as David Shutt goes around from the lead and into the pit attenuator.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker for Shutt there, and it's an even bigger heartbreaker that he's not going to get a caution. Will Klein now sliding up in front of Herczeg there as they came off the corner. Shutt has to roll down the pit lane here, rejoin the racing surface. He is not going to be happy.
And you can see the field should be coming around here momentarily. It looks like he got through the pit lane pretty quickly, not even the field behind him, so that's a pretty good job well done there. Back up front, obviously a lot going on as the caution flag flies. And this time it's John Barry in the 74 car.
What is going on tonight? That's 2 drivers in our top 5 in points, and this is some major damage to John Barry's car as the rear deck lid is now missing off that machine. This is going to be a saving grace for Shutt, though. This yellow is going to allow him a chance to catch up. But for John Barry, what happened? Here he is in the midst of Matt Hummel and Chad Oxendine, 2 of the cars that were in our last 2 cautions. Barry going to try to get through here on the inside of Hummel. And it looks like it's all going to go awry here shortly.
Look at how dusty things are getting as well. You got to imagine visibility starting to become a problem for these drivers, much like we saw back in March. Michael Keithley, Matt Hummel, they make some contact up top. John on the inside. And does that have... Well, Sean Williams goes around. That might be something to go back and check out. At that time was not involved with Matt Hummel. Where's the spin? There it is for John Barry finally. And oh my goodness! What a hit!
Sorry, Andrew, didn't mean to jump on you on that, but that was really surprising to see that car hit that pit barrier. Oh, and, you know, it's also ironic that Schutt nearly missed it the first time, or barely missed it the first time, and then Barry's the one who catches it to draw the yellow flag. Unfortunately for Sean Williams, we were just talking to him, and Sheldon Lockheed's the one who sent him for a slide there. So the one thing that I liked, Andrew, is that after talking to Sean Williams, he said he was having fun. One guy who's not having fun is right here in John Barry.
Yeah, that's a pretty big hit right there. I don't care what the car was driving like before. It's not going to drive like that now. That's a pretty big hit, and he got collected by Tom Mercier a little bit as well. Some more drivers taking to the pit lane. Now, we heard that some of these guys were a little bit concerned about fuel loads. I think that was Chad Oxendine that mentioned it. I wonder if these leaders are going to have enough fuel the rest of the way. But what I do also wonder, something entirely separate, is what Zach Lindgren is thinking in that second spot. What do you say we dial up the driver of the 85 car now?
Zach Lindgren is someone who we highlighted a couple weeks ago by having some racing experience outside of the sim, and that level of confidence seems to be taking its way all the way over to the dirt. Zach, what a night you're having, man. But the theme that we're asking everybody is this fun or is this incredibly frustrating?
Yes, it's both. It's a lot of fun once you get the hang of it and once you get into a groove, but these cautions are just breaking everything apart. So it's both fun and frustrating, but I think we got a car to contend. We've been doing well so far. We've been keeping it in the top 5 most of the night, so I think we're doing all right.
Now, you're in a position where you're surrounded by the top 2 drivers in the championship points. You're a chase driver as well, but the odds of a championship may be dwindling with each passing race. Are you taking into consideration what those around you are vying for, or are you just simply focused on what your agenda is, and that's winning this race?
If I focus on other people, then I can't focus on me. And if I can't focus on me, then we don't do what we need to do. So right now it's just focusing on me, focusing on what my race and what I got to do. And my teammate, but focusing on what we got to do. And how we finish and how everyone else finishes against us.
We'll let you turn your attention back to this upcoming restart. Zach, great night so far. Keep it up, buddy. We want to chat with you later on.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you.
And that's Zach Lindgren getting set to restart in the second spot behind the point leader in Daniel Falkingham. Andrew, hopefully we can get in a bit of a rhythm here.
Yeah, suddenly a lot's changed up front. Several drivers making some contact with themselves, each other, and the wall. Green flag back out at Bristol. And you were talking about the fact that Zach has some real-life racing experience now. He ran an amateur sports car race at Carolina Motorsports Park with HMS Motorsport. This is just a bit different. As we work through lap 88, back under green flag racing, you can see everybody sorting themselves out, some happenings throughout the field. There is Jared Darling battling with Terrell Baker, 3 wide behind, Cole Freilich through the middle. And a slide job.
Well, yeah, I thought he was going to slide all the way up across the bow of Josh Robin there in the corner, and oh no, we're under caution again, and it's Michael Keithley again. What is happening?
Well, the big green ogre is not having a good day. That's all we know. That's all we know so far.
That's not nice of you to say about me, Andrew. Come on.
I wasn't expecting that. This is going to involve somebody that we've seen a lot of this evening in a way that this is different. This is a lot different for David Schutt. This is not good to see if you're a fan of the 5-car. Contact here with John Barry. Where does the caution come from, though? That's what we're wondering, as this is right about lap 90 when we got the yellow. David Schutt, maybe a little bit over rotation there. No, maybe contact with Oxendine. Over rotates out of 4 and around in front of Keithley and Barry. And then Keithley, I think, had his own issue.
It looks like Keithley got the car cocked sideways when he was trying to avoid Schutt and not hit him, and then he bounced off the wall and ended up wrecking himself. Schutt's very lucky he didn't get speared there. Otherwise, that certainly would have been night over. We're going to get another look at it here this time by. Shutt's able to get by cleanly. Unfortunately for him, you go from leading the race to having a semi-spin that doesn't draw the caution. We're going to see it again here. Shutt gets sideways, comes across. Keithley does everything he needed to do, and then bounces off the wall and just continues on crashing there down to turn number 1. And also at that point, I know we're poking fun at the night that Keithley is having, but in all seriousness, that appeared to be a driver's effort to keep it up out of the groove as he got down to turn number 1, so he didn't collect more cars. It's a good move by him.
And that caution likely was caused by the 5 being sideways, not the 53. So that's likely on David Shutt as far as the actual cause for the yellow and not Michael Keithley. It's lap 92 under caution. What do you say we take a quick commercial break? We go side by side for a moment and rejoin you for the green flag.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept.
As we get ready to go back green flag racing, you can see everybody single file once more as lap 94 coming to lap 95. Daniel Falkingham back in control. Green flag flies once more from Bristol on the dirt.
Falkingham with a pretty strong restart that time there, ahead of Lindgren, who we just heard from, who's working the top side, up about a car length higher than that of Falkingham, trying to make it work, but I'm starting to wonder what Zoltan Herzeg is thinking as he gets up into the wall. All 3 cars got into the wall that time, but Herzeg knows that he's got 1 car he's got to find a way to start beating on a weekly basis to have any shot at getting another NORC title. And that car is 2 spots ahead of him in Falkingham, who is looking to get another win here tonight. I wonder if Herzeg, who's a very mild and poised racer himself, if he's going to start to push the issue there in 3rd spot, as we got a caution for a crash on the back straightaway, and it's Hayes Booth.
Hayes Booth and Matt Hummel involved this time, and it's lap 97 of 150 that brings us our latest caution flag. And I want to quickly highlight the fact that Hayes Booth just gave up a weekend of going to Daytona for the NASCAR playoff cutoff down at Daytona Beach at the Daytona International Speedway because of Hurricane Ida that was rolling through Mississippi and Louisiana and surrounding regions. And as a Mississippi native, I mean, they're pretty used to hurricanes rolling through, but when you have to give up a weekend of going to Daytona International Speedway, it's got to be serious. And thankfully, it seems as though, obviously, if he's racing this evening, he and his family must be okay. So glad that he and Lori Booth and everybody else in the Booth family are okay. A little bit of contact here, though. Matt Hummel getting the back end of the 2 car. And Matt, I'm going to be honest, just throttled up in the middle of a corner with a car in front of him. That was unnecessary.
Yeah, it almost looked like, from my perspective, that it may have been a position similar to what Booth was in earlier, where he started to step out sideways, and Tommy Gosson ended up tagging him. But Matt Hummel was definitely a little bit aggressive there in trying to get back to the throttle. This is going to be a good vantage point here, and we'll see how it all unfolds. See Booth's car getting a little bit sideways in front of him. Hummel tries to cut under, and just never really had the spot as Booth was just trying to exit the corners. So I'll echo the same sentiments as you there, Andrew, especially considering the fact we're not even in the final third of this race yet. That's a little aggressive.
You've got to have patience. You've got to backpedal for drivers around you sometimes. I know you want to go past them, But as a driver in this kind of field, for this kind of race, you have got to sit back. You've got to be easy. You've got to give and take. It can't be all take, or we're going to have the race we've had this evening. If we take to race info, 13 yellows for working on 60 laps. It's been calamity the entire time, and this is the kind of race that NORC has been trying to shake. Now, obviously, you could argue that you're opening yourself up to it a little bit by having a race on dirt, but regardless, this is the kind of race that didn't need to happen. We've seen Bristol dirt races go much more clean than this, and I think these drivers just need to understand that they've got to sit back a little bit. And I'm sure a lot of you guys watching will remember sometimes we've had a lot of caution-filled races previously, and know that these guys, they can race cleanly. They just aren't right now in some cases.
Yeah, we went to over. I think we only had one caution there. Indianapolis only had one yellow flag there. Some of the toughest tracks that you would find for a stock car on the sim. The NORC guys and gals have put on an incredible performance and a very entertaining night of racing on these Tuesday night events they put on. And both chase races as well. Even at Texas, things didn't get all that ugly. I know it's asking a lot to expect similar here tonight at Bristol Dirt, but we knew it was going to be a little bit rough and tumble. I don't know that I thought it was going to be this rough and tumble, but the hope is for this final third that we're able to tidy things up and have a good race to the checkers.
We shall see. Lap 100 is done. Lap 101 is about to be done. And we're about to begin lap 102 from Bristol on the dirt. The pace truck back to the safety of pit lane. The green flag flies. We're back at it for the 14th time, I think.
We hope. We hope this is the last time we got to see a restart here, but let's try to get a couple laps in. Herzeg had a peek off the jump on Lindgren there on the left rear. Wasn't able to get up alongside. How about Jared Darling starting to make some noise? We talked about the heartbreaker that he had in that one car last week. He slides up the track, almost gets into Jared Wishon there for a race for what is 6 now, but Jared Darling up into the top 10. May not be done yet, but he's a lone soldier trying to work that bottom. It's costing him.
Yeah, the bottom is not working, and I talked earlier about the bottom being the preferred line. That obviously has changed with this particular setup, and we saw something similar with the LTAC All-Star race back here much earlier in the season, and a caution flag again, and this involves Hayes Booth again, as well as other drivers. Looks like Tommy Gossett just decided he's done finally on lap, 104, and he toes the pit lane. Well, might not be done, but he has towed, and that car is still in the pit box. Still in the pit box. He's still there, so he hasn't left just yet. Hopefully he doesn't leave. Hopefully he sticks around and gets back out there. Never mind. As we took the replay, he has disconnected, and this... Eric Brennan, I hate to say this. I mean, we love Michael Keithley. We really do. He's had a great season in some other races, but this is going to involve the 53 car one more time.
Well, let's see how it happened. Matt Hummel's right behind him as well, so a couple of the common denominators from tonight's cautions are running nose to tail. This time, though, it's a big slide by Keithley. Hummel up into the wall. They come together off the corner. Keithley sideways, saves it there. And at that point, his trajectory getting into the corner is all off, and Booth has gotten by him now. So we'll see what happens here as they come down to the next corner. With Booth running up ahead, Sheldon Lockey down low to the inside. Booth gets a little bit sideways and stays sideways and stays sideways. Saves it off the corner. Here comes Keithley. We know the wreck's coming. It's definitely coming here. Booth gets it in way loose, and Keithley finishes the job.
I mean, again, I hate to get so critical of these drivers that we know so well and we love to talk about and everything and whatnot, but when you see a car getting sideways ahead, the thought has got to be to lift and check up, use the brake, and it just doesn't happen. And to be fair, a lot's going on here. These drivers are getting sideways, these cars are in a very weird situation, but I mean, they get hit by two separate guys when he's sideways. That's going to be pretty painful for Hayes Booth. And again, it comes down to the fact that drivers, we've not seen a lick of patience the entire race. Patience maybe on the first start, but after the first yellow, whatever happened on that first yellow, I'm going to have to blame that driver because, man, it has set off an avalanche of yellows. But, hey, That said, we've seen these drivers race green before, Eric, and while, yes, it's been pretty rough 100 laps or so, we know these drivers are good. We know these drivers can do it. It's a matter of will they do it. A lot of these guys, they're just being aggressive. They're racing. It's dirt. They're going balls to the wall, for lack of a better term. They want to win. They want to gain positions. They want to show they're the next Kyle Larson. But they have to tone it back a little bit.
You know, we were hyping this up as the biggest wild card, not only of the chase, but of the season. And I'm starting to wonder if all these drivers were doing the same in their mind and perhaps thinking, this is my shot. This is my opportunity. I need to go out there and perform at 110% for all 150 laps. And when you have that many drivers on the same wavelength on a track where it doesn't promote or handle that much aggression, like that of a Daytona or Talladega or iRacing Superspeedway, you know, I think you end up with the result that we've seen here tonight. A lot of these people were trying to take their chance here tonight, and you know, the cream always rises to the top, and that's what we're seeing with the running order right now. The top 5 has been consistent. It's been drivers who have kept themselves clean. They have not exerted that level of aggression, and I think the rest of the field could learn something here in these final 40 laps from them.
Along with that, somebody that we've seen in a couple of incidents, but not too many, has been a very aggressive Cole Freilich. Somebody that is usually sending it every single lap, never quits, 110% all the time. A dirt regular, he's back there in 11th. He's sitting back, he's being patient. Something a lot of drivers aren't doing, and hopefully they will start to do. Green flag back out from Bristol. It's lap 110 of 150. Zoltan Herczeg to the inside looking for second.
Talked about how he has to go. He has to get to Falkingham. Lindgren's going to tag the wall, but keep it going. Herczeg, it's going to cost him a chance to take that spot away on the bottom. Klein can't pounce. No changes amongst the front 3. Will Klein is trying to get back up there. Herczeg catches the wall that time in the middle of the corner, and the top 5 remains unchanged.
Something we do not want to see is drivers using the wall for an advantage, but we're starting to see it. Hopefully these guys get off of that fence. It can help them. It will damage their car as I guess, a payback for it. A little bit of karma, I suppose, a consequence. But you can see they're starting to gain some times by just using the wall. And Zach Lindgren way down the racetrack at a turn 2. He's about to get freight trained on the bottom side. You can see that lone white car with the black bumper cover. He's maybe going to slide in front of Will Klein. No, the 48 to the outside of the 85.
That big tussle is going to allow Falkingham to open up a 3/4 of a second lead, and that slide is going to cause Lindgren at least 2 spots. Will Clyde sideways off the corner. He's now going to get pinned on the bottom. He'll give Lindgren back to 3rd position. Who's going to follow? Here comes Briss up top. Here comes Wishon up top. And now it is Klein who is hung out to dry on the bottom. How often do you hear that on a dirt track? Klein is stuck down to that inside lane, trying to slide up as they come off the corner.
TCB also gets loose at a turn number 2 down the racetrack, and here comes Chad Oxendine to take that spot away and move up into the 7th position. David Shutt is there as well. I'm not gonna say it. Not gonna say it, but well, one car's around.
Car spinning there in the back of the pack. Not quite sure who that might have been.
Hummel.
It may have been Matt Hummel. As we see his name dropping down the running order, we stay green as he is on the pit lane. Falkingham still out in front. The gap remains 3/4 of a second. Everybody's either slamming the wall or skating sideways on the bottom. There is no middleman. Right now, Wishon trying to get by Howie Briss, who's working on Will Klein. And how about the comeback by the next 3 that outline your way down towards the bottom of the top 10. Chad Oxendine, David Shutt, and TCB, all 3 have been involved in multiple cautions tonight, and they're having a pretty good comeback and trying to get back up to the top 5.
I've got to be honest, I like the way this race is starting to progress. A lot of dust in the air, but we're starting to see a little bit of multi-groove as Matt Hummel cleans out our camera up top of the wall. You can see these guys really starting to get sideways and be able to hold that sideways into the corner, and you're starting to see some drivers be able to use the rest of the racetrack. Drivers also singling file out a little bit, starting to spread out. This is what we want to see. And I said I wasn't going to say it, but I'll go ahead and say it, and if chaos ensues, it's on me. We've gotten green for a several amount of laps at this point.
Turn into the longest green flag run that we've had since the start of the race, where I think we went 13 laps to kick things off, which means lap traffic could become a conversation as Matt Hummel and Spencer Owens are out in front of the leader Falkingham, and Zoltan Herczeg is closing the gap. We're watching Howie Briss and Jared Wishon go at it here. What's the race for 5th, with Briss making the bottom work as Wishon tags the wall, but look at this race for the lead.
Yeah, this is starting an arrow. 31 laps to go, that time by the stripe, and caution flag again. I'll take ownership of that one.
I'll give you a free pass. We went a few laps before that happened, but unfortunately it appears to have involved Jared Darling, who was one of the drivers up in the top 10. We talked about him trying to battle back from what happened at Texas last week. John Berry was another machine that was involved in the fray there on the inside of the racetrack to slow the field with about 30 laps to go. You'll see that Darling is going to be able to get around the pace truck to rejoin the tail end of the field here, but that off that fight for the lead that we saw. What happened to Darling and Berry? It's Darling sliding up the racetrack. That's Cole Freilich in the 15. It was outside. Darling with a really skewed entry into the corner. May have to put that on car 1.
I think it's a mixture of car 1 and car 15. I know I just shouted out Cole for being pretty patient this evening, but it looks like he could have done a little bit to help avoid that one. We'll take a couple more looks at it and try and diagnose things. As actually, along with all of this, there was a different incident further back that we'll take a look at along with it. This is Sean Williams and Hayes Booth. Hayes Booth over-rotates, Sean cleans him out. But it was a very similar situation with these two drivers up ahead. The other one didn't produce the yellow. This one does.
Yeah, the perspective that I had here was this big slide by Darling, and it kind of throws off his entry. And
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a racing deal on dirt. You know, it's hard to lay blame on anybody specifically here the way that this night has unfolded. But unfortunately, it caught up Sheldon Lockey and John Berry as well. And I think the biggest misfortune was that it stopped that battle amongst the top two in the points where it's pretty much go time for Herczeg. You know, if you want an opportunity at all to try to cool the jets of Falkingham, even though we didn't go to victory lane at Texas last week, this is it. You got to take it. You got to take it now. And I think you're almost at the point where you got to do anything that is possible to get up and around Falkingham and stop him from probably being able to capture the biggest outlier of his slate of races. This is it for Herczeg. He's got to get the job done.
Everybody's got to get the job done. It's not just Zoltan Herczeg. It's not just Daniel Falkingham. Everybody in this chase has got to execute in these next 25 or so laps on this green flag. And I look through the field, and there aren't too many. In fact, we can bring the ticker out for a moment here and check out who's where under this yellow flag period. There aren't too many chase drivers in this top 10 that are in a chance to really do anything about it. The top 3 are really the only guys. Will Klein and Hallie Briss enter this race almost 100 points behind Daniel Falkingham. The next chase driver is Chad Oxendine in 7th. I suppose he can have a say about it, along with David Schutt, but they're stuck back there in an area that we've seen a lot of yellows produced from here, Eric, and with the desperation they're going to have to race with in this next little while, that does not sound like a good combination to get up front and to make inroads on this lead to Daniel Falkingham.
It's a great point, because unless something happens that would collect a number of these front runners up ahead, I'm not sure we're going to see a green flag run like what we just had. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope that I'm wrong. But with the level of aggression about to pick up here immensely in these final 25 laps or so, I'm not sure these guys are going to have enough time to get to where they want to be towards the head of the pack, where a lot of them have shown they've had the pace here tonight, especially a leader in David Schutt. I don't know any level of aggression is going to provide a clean enough pathway through to get back up there.
And listen, I know we've made our jokes a little bit here and there, and we've talked about how caution-filled this race has been, but I got to admit, this has been a really fun race to have in the middle of the chase. I personally might not put it in the chase myself, but it has changed things up a little bit, and it's certainly a race that Daniel Falkingham has got to execute on if he wants to take this championship with ease. He just might do it. Lap 125, 126 underway of 150. That means 25 to go.
And that's a pretty good restart there for Herczeg, who stayed with Falkingham as they come into 3 and 4. Falkingham scrubbing the wall. Behind them, double wide for third, with Klein looking 3 abreast, perhaps to the middle. Howie Briss is going to ping-pong off them, and they're going to crash on the straightaway.
And you hate that one for Hallie Briss and Will Klein. I just mentioned 2 drivers that enter this race nearly 100 points out of the championship. 2 drivers we've seen a lot of all season long and a lot of good runs out of all season long. And unfortunately, it looks like Will Klein is done. Hallie Briss gets a lot of damage as well.
Boy, it's unfortunate because we heard from Will Klein earlier, and he kind of hinted at this. He said the final 50 laps or so, he thought we're going to have him a little bit frustrated. It was the final 25 laps that we saw him get involved in an incident that took him out of contention as Howie Briss got up alongside. This has been a career night for Howie. Well, not career night, but we'll call it one of his best nights of the season. Still searching for his first top 5 of the season is Howie Briss, and he was there. He saw the contact up to the right side between Lindgren and Klein, but coming off the corner, he just got squared up and came off a little bit too straight and went right into the left rear of Will Klein, and they both ended up against the inside wall in the front stretch.
And I initially said that Howie ended up with a lot of damage. Not really. Kind of just eases that car into the inside wall. Will Klein gets a lot of damage, of course, and it looks like he's done in the 22nd position now in part. But regardless, not what you want to see. And you mentioned top 5s as well. As far as drivers with multiple top 5s, an interesting stat line coming into this race is that Zoltan Herzeg has led the field in top 5s just about all season long. 14 of 20 races so far. This evening would make 15 of 21 if he finishes in the top 5. That is more than 2/3 of this season that he's finished 5th or better. And Daniel Falkingham comes in just one race behind that with 13 so far out of 20. This race would make it 14 of 21, which would be 2/3 of the season so far. David Schutt, the next driver, at 10 coming into this race. John Barry at 8. Chad Oxendine tied with him at 8. Then it's Will Klein with 6. Zach Lindgren with 5. Femi Olot with 5, amazingly. Jared Darling, Brett Pancari tied at 4. Aaron Smith, Terrell Baker tied at 3. And then a 5-way tie at 2 between Ashley Molyneux, Tommy Gossett, Josh Aubin, Ariati, and Sean Williams.
Just an unbelievable amount of consistency for that of a Herzeg, and I think it also speaks volumes about just how powerful and dominant we've seen Daniel Falkingham be. That despite that level of consistency, there's somebody who's been better than him on the season so far, and I think it's a testament to those 7 wins that he's been able to rack up, and he's actually looking for win number 8 here tonight with chances to win in the final 4 still aplenty. So Herzeg, you know, we're putting pressure on a number of these drivers to be able to execute when the time is right. For Herzeg, he's been nailing the restarts. He just needs enough time to see if he can size up Falkingham here and make something happen in what, as we say, is perhaps the biggest wildcard event of the season. But time is running out.
I love that we've called this the biggest wild card of the season, and the 2 drivers leading are the 2 drivers that have led all season long. 11 wins between them, that's more than half the season, and it's looking like it's going to become 12 out of 21. I mean, it's just incredible what these 2 drivers do. It doesn't matter where we go, doesn't matter what track we're at, what the conditions are like, or anything. They're always just good, and it takes a lot of drivers out of a position to do anything about it. And Zoltan Herzeg, of course, is coming off of the season World Championship, but that was in a very different circumstance with the 1987 NASCAR Cup cars, the Monte Carlo and the Thunderbird. This is completely different, albeit still pretty skill-demanding cars for the course of a season, and he's still up front. We're going to go back green flag racing here. Lap 133 coming at you from Bristol. Lindgren gets sideways into 1.
And that's going to check up Herzeg a little bit, but look at the run he's got off the corner. Falkingham with a big skate there as he was a lane up off the outside retaining wall, got a crash on the backstretch, and that's TCB who's in the wall. He gets it pointed in the right direction. So far, we stay green.
Somehow we stay green. More cars making contact. Cody Miller almost makes it 4 wide. Matt Hummel, my goodness, the move. He goes around them all. Hayes Booth drops back. Sheldon Lockie and all of this. John Barry, and Cody Miller's around, and Hayes Booth goes along with.
I'm surprised they made it that long. I mean, that was just one of those points where everybody was just sending it full bore up into the corner, and Hayes Booth ends up paying the price, as does Cody Miller, but I can't believe they did not wreck a full lap prior. I hate the fact that it ended up ruining that potential of a bit of a stretch there for the front runners, as Herzeg was trying to size up Falkingham at the front of the pack, but another yellow, another unfortunate turn of events for Hayes Booth, who, again, just seemed to be wrong place, wrong time.
And again, Hayes Booth, thankfully okay in everything that went on with Hurricane Ida, and I want to extend my thoughts, prayers, condolences, whatever, I guess, suits the situation to anybody in the area down south in Mississippi, Louisiana, and surrounding areas. First of all, that was a big move for Hayes Booth. There was the big checkup, made a lot of spots quickly, and then this contact into 1. Unfortunately, things go awry right there.
I'm not really sure what's going on with Matt Hummel there. I feel like he went full send, rode the wall, picked up 4 spots, tried to do it again in the following corner. A car in front of him got in the fence, and he came off the wall with no regard to anybody that was underneath him. Here's the initial move. This is up in the fence, gets around Miller, gets around Booth. We may pencil that down potentially as move of the race. Then he goes down to the next set of corners, tries to do it again. There's a car there, gets it off the wall, turns down low, doors Cody Miller, and causes the carnage behind him. I know Hummel's been a topic of conversation so far here tonight, but I don't know how long you want to continue to try to bounce around at the back of the field with no regard as to what else is going on in front of the pack. But he wasn't the only one doing it. They all were, and it wasn't pretty.
I have breaking news. Zoltan Herczeg is the leader of this race. Whatever happened, obviously we saw what happened behind, lends itself to Zoltan Herczeg taking the lead. We've only got 12, 13 laps to go the next time. There'll be 13 the next time, probably 12 when we take the green flag, maybe 11. And Zoltan Herczeg is suddenly the race leader.
That is huge. And I mean, in a big way. I mean, we were talking just 20 laps ago when we had our longest green flag run of about 7 laps, that Herczeg had to start moving. He had to make this pass. He's done it. Now can he hold off Falkingham, and how aggressive will Daniel be? You know, we talk about minding the gap. He didn't win at Texas, but he kept all the heavy hitters behind him. Now he could see the back bumper of that 96. If he could just, kind of stop the bleeding here and ride it out in second, it's still a good night, considering we thought that it was either going to go one way or the other. But it's not up to him. It's up to the rest of the pack and how things should unfold in this final, what's probably going to be a 10-lap shootout. We'll see.
Now, this isn't going to be championship changing unless somebody like Zach Lindgren, maybe David Schutt, who's suddenly in 4th place, can get to the 96 car, or not the 96, but the 20 car, can get to Daniel Falkingham and can get him out of 2nd place. Everybody's got to work together right now. If they want to avoid a Daniel Falkingham championship in the NORC iRacing Series, they've all got to work together to move the 20 car. And as bad as that might sound, that's just the reality as we come back to the green flag with 11 laps to go. It all comes down to this. Potentially, maybe the final restart of the night. Green flag back out. Zoltan Herczeg, the leader, and Schutt already down to the bottom side of 1. He's got the spot in a big slide job from Zach Lindgren. A crossover, maybe. The New Mexican down to the bottom side.
I will say that David Schutt may have one of the best cars here tonight. Will he have a chance to fully show it? I'm not quite sure. 10 to go at the line. Falkingham not letting Herczeg get away just yet. We made it a lap since the restart, and Falkingham up into the wall with the right side of the car, kind of gets stuck into the wall with the right side of the car there, and Schutt, since taking 3rd, has not been able to close in. Here comes Falkingham with a dive for the lead.
Slide job, and that might be good for the lead. Hold on, a caution flag is out, and yes! Daniel Falkingham, with that incomplete slide job, has retaken the race lead at Bristol on the dirt. Boy, oh boy.
Tom Mercier, evidently, is one of the cars that was involved in this caution flag as a huge race-changing moment took place just prior to the timing of the yellow. Oh, was looking forward to watching those two race it out down the straightaway. Let's go back and see what happened to Mercier here. That's Matt Hummel outside, Howie Britz in the 97 behind, and Mercier just steps it out a little bit too far here. Saves it initially off the corner, but Matt Hummel's going to wreck in front of him, and Mercier gets involved in that one.
Matt Hummel has now parked it, but I got to be honest, when you get to whatever total this is, something's got to change as a driver. Now, I don't know that he's been the cause of all of them necessarily at fault or that he's necessarily been doing anything wrong, but I will say throwing it into the wall like this with a complete disregard for what happens next, as you said, Eric Brennan, is a problem. And he goes around, collects Tom Mercier, and another caution flag flies.
Your luck is eventually going to run out. Our job is to call it like we see it. And I think that even though this race has been a little bit rough from a going perspective, the caution figures prove it. It is our duty to point out some of the repeat offenders. And there are some drivers who we've said on more than one occasion, and we've been pretty blunt in our assessment of their behavior and tactics tonight. and the 93 was one of them. So, hopefully we'll chalk that up to a lesson learned by Hummel and whoever else had a similar style of night. And going forward, it'll be a different approach and different tactic, because the negative effect to that is being able to, or I shouldn't say being able, but it's taking away the ability to watch a fight for the lead against drivers who have figured out how to get around this track, have not been involved in multiple incidents tonight, like that of your top two. And, that caution comes out in the midst of a side-by-side battle between two championship contenders on a track where it's hard to run wheel-to-wheel like that. And it just puts out the fire, which I was hoping would burn all the way to the checkers from a competitive standpoint. Very unfortunate.
While we have this stoppage of action, we do want to go ahead and talk to a driver that we've seen a lot of so far this evening in the number 2 car of Hayes Booth. And Hayes, buddy, it's been a rough week, whatever it may be for you, buddy, and that doesn't stop this evening. A pretty rough race. What's happened so far?
Oh, well, kind of caught me off guard. I did not expect to get interviewed. It's been rough. Honestly, though, I think it's been a rough race for just about every person in here. It's just... this race has not been the greatest showing of this league, and we kind of expected it, with it being a short dirt track. A lot of us don't really have a lot of experience with dirt racing, myself included, so I kind of expected this. But, yeah, we were in the top 10 at one point, and then just a lot of stuff happened, made mistakes, and just got all the way back here. So, definitely been rough, but we'll see what we can do in these final 4 laps.
Well, buddy, it's good to hear from you. Glad you're safe with Hurricane Ida. We're going back green flag. Best of luck to you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hayes Booth right back down with the rest of his teammates and friends. Green flag back out. 4 laps to go from Bristol.
And now it's all about trying to set up a move if you get a chance. But David Shutt, man, I'm the second one who almost called him Daniel Shutt. David Shutt tried to make the move there for second spot on Herczeg. Still going to try and make the move here after he's had one of the fastest cars tonight, but Herczeg is working the top side. He just wants a shot at Falkingham in the closing stages here, but time is starting to run out, with Shutt still pressuring on the inside.
3 laps to go. We'll come around to 2 the next time by. Popsicle sticks almost in the air. 1 car in the pit attenuator. TCB has gone around. We stay green. We're still racing in this top 4, 5, 6, however many, and 2 laps to go.
And unfortunately, Herczeg is starting to run out of time. We've seen him eat up a 0.3 of a second deficit before, but can he do it in a lap and a half? Falkingham, perhaps on his way to what would be the most unpredictable victory of his iRacing career. Here he comes. 1 to go at the line.
1 lap to go for Daniel Falkingham. The white flag is out, presented by Tucson Sound Art. There's nothing that Zoltan Herczeg can do about it. Look at the dust flight. You can't see the 20 car. They're all going to race back to the checkered flag, all behind the 20 of Daniel Falkingham, who gets it done for the 8th time on the 2021 season.
That is just unbelievable. And I know we still have 4 races left to go and a lot to be decided and a lot that can happen, but this may go down as the exclamation point to what has been an incredibly dominating season for that of Daniel Falkingham. Besides him not having a victory on a super speedway, I know he came up short at Daytona to Cody Miller. When we got to iRacing Super Speedway, Ashley Molyneux took the victory there, and at the Talladega Duels, Femi Olot swept it. Legacy Daytona went to Zoltan Herczeg. Aside from the Super Speedway, lack of a victory there, this is a driver who has excelled on every other discipline that the NORC Series tackles, including this variable, the dirt race at Bristol, and he survived a slugfest. Look at that, 18 cautions for 86 laps, 4 lead changes, and the last one came at the right time when the yellow flag flew. And yet another asterisk will go next to Falkingham's name on our Pit Stop TV graphic to indicate a race victory. What a season he's having.
And it's a good kind of asterisk as well. It's not the bad kind. It's to say that maybe something was up with something. It's the good kind of asterisk to mark a race win. 8 times this driver has gone to victory lane. A couple of road courses in there. Now a dirt track. A lot of ovals, obviously. It's incredible what he's done this season. I personally cannot believe it. Daniel Falkingham has been a good driver for seasons, right? We've talked about this a few times so far, but nothing like this. Simply nothing like this.
No, I'm not sure of anybody who's been able to have this level of success in any race season. I haven't seen it. Granted, I've been covering races on Pit Stop TV for coming up on about a year now with you guys, and I don't recall seeing someone have this much of a stranglehold with this diverse of a schedule and with the talent level being as strong as it is. And it's remarkable. Emerson Arden, who handled our social media duties tonight, he's the one who crunched the numbers for us after the road course races. He led every single lap there. It's incredible what this guy can do, and we thought tonight would be the night that we would see a kink in the armor, if you will, and it just did not happen. It's remarkable.
And that goes down as overall race win number 12. He came in with just 4. He's doubled that this season alone. He entered season 13 with only 4 wins to his name. Think about that. He's now got 12. I mean, that is the season that anybody wants to have in any series ever. I mean, it's just been incredible. He's now only 1 win behind Freddie De La Rosa and Zoltan Herczeg. He's actually now tied the previous number that Freddie D had before winning last week at Texas. Imagine if after next week, those 3 are tied. That would be incredible. And if he gets above that 13 win mark, the next spot ahead of that would be an outright 4th place in the all-time wins list. And the next one ahead of him then is Femi Olot. Then you got Bobby Zelensky. Then you got Marcus Richardson. Those are the kinds of names he's starting to put himself with in the NORC iRacing Series, 2 of which are currently competing in the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series, which is going to fire off in a little bit and begin their playoffs from Darlington. So that's the kind of company that we're starting to speak about Daniel Falkingham in. He's already surpassed Benjamin Nelson, who's raced in the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series, and several other really good drivers, be it in I guess C-Fix C Open, B-Fix B Open, A-Fix A Open, NIS, Road to Pro, etc. Daniel Falkingham is good, and this is his season. I mean, quite simply, this is his season. I don't know how he loses the championship at this point. What we will do, though, is go ahead and take a step aside finally after that long-winded speech as to how good Falkingham has been, and we'll be right back to you here in a few moments with post-race coverage from Bristol.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Okay, so you've watched the big boys race more than a handful of times. Maybe it's time you felt the thrill of racing from the other side of the fence, from the best seat in the house. It's time for you to experience the excitement of U.S. Legend Series racing from the driver's seat. U.S. Legend Series is one of the fastest growing segments in all of motorsports. It's a fun and affordable spec class of racing for anyone to participate in. The U.S. Legends Series was designed to fight the high cost of racing by strictly enforced rules to ensure fair and close competition. This is a series where drivers can come explore their dreams no matter their age or expertise level. A system where competition and growth outweigh operational costs. The U.S. Legends Series is a series for those who love auto racing to enjoy as a stepping stone to build on their talent and ingenuity, plus a vehicle to build family and community, strengthening bonds, building a bolder, brighter future, building a legend. It's time to see for yourself all that the U.S. Legends Series has to offer. It's time to go racing.
We had the means for once in our life and the chance and the opportunity to decide to go racing, so we're going to attempt to go do it. So it's practice day today, but we're going to go out here and shake it down and get the driver halfway up to speed. We know the car is good. The driver is just in trouble. He's going to be in trouble all weekend, but we'll make the best of it. That's all we can do, right? Guy with virtually no experience to come out here, hop in a legend car, and be in the ballpark, having a blast. I think it says a lot about the platform in that these cars really are the everyday man's race car. You couldn't ask for anything better than this. I mean, look at me. I run TV cameras and talk for a living, right? I don't do this, and I can come out here and have fun, be competitive, and have some people to race with. Ultimately, that's what it's all about.
Well, I do want to thank Tony Stevens and the Pit Row crew for that quick presentation. Hate to cut it short a little bit, but we're back to you from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway with dirt on top. And you can see a lot of rubber in the corners as well, as this place got dry slick in a hurry. The story up front, none other than Daniel Falkingham yet again. And we'll bring the driver of the 20 car in. And buddy, we're talking to you a lot. It seems like every single week we're talking to you in some capacity. This time, you're back in victory lane. The one race that everybody had tabbed as a wild card and the chance to potentially beat you, well, you win it.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember everything I said last week about how I was not looking forward to this at all. I'm just going to say this is probably the most I've ever prepared for a race. Probably the first time I've actually prepared for a race a lot, because like I said last week, I had zero confidence coming in here because I am not the best dirt racer. And just the speed we showed in practice, especially how consistent we were. After how we ran in the heat, I mean, albeit the track was a lot tackier and not as slick as it was near the end of the race. And I gained a lot of confidence throughout the race, but the only thing that was killing me there was the restarts and stuff, because I just have to do the same thing over and over again. We don't got a big restart window. So I know all those guys would try to time it behind me, and they timed really well. And just to think, I got scammed twice. Just to think by both Shutt and Zoltan, but thankfully several lucky breaks past with Shutt's incident. Then I got the lead back from Zoltan when the caution came out perfectly. So literally nothing else could have gone better. Like nothing else could have gone better my way. Like it's pretty incredible just how this entire race played out. But I mean, I'm so ecstatic right now.
And there's reason to be ecstatic, of course, as well. You win an 8th time this season. That is more than a third of this season. You're batting over 350, which is incredible to think about. Got a lot to be happy with, and we're going to another racetrack that I think is going to suit you, Darlington, and you're only opening up that points gap by even more. Darlington's got to feel pretty good for you as far as the championship goes.
Darlington, I love that place. It's one of my favorite tracks. And considering the recent success I've had in any Xfinity cars at Darlington, I mean, heck, I just ran a league race there on Sunday night, and guess that will be my preparation for next week. But overall, I love Darlington, especially the updates they've done to it where they took grip out of the racetrack. Low grip, high horsepower with these Xfinity cars. I think it's going to be my bread and butter next week, but of course, I never want to get too overconfident. I take this week by week and just come out and do the best I can. It'd be nice to go knock off another win, but right now we just try to keep getting these solid finishes, and hopefully we can just keep building this points buffer. Because, I mean, yes, we got 4 races left, and yes, I got the big points cushion, but still, I mean, just one bad race, and it could all flip on its head. So, just going into next week, and we're just going to do what I do, and hopefully get another win, but hopefully get another solid finish. Just get those points, keep climbing.
Well, I'm going to help you feel a bit better about it, Daniel, because it's not just one race. You're going to have 2 pretty bad races. You got 40 points thereabouts or more on the next competitor. It's huge. But, hey, you do you, buddy. Don't look back. It's a championship season through and through, I think. Who do you have to thank? Who do you want to shout out this evening? An 8th win on the season.
Not gonna lie, that's crazy. 8 wins. That you keep saying that 8 wins.
And you know what? I mentioned a stat, Daniel.
Go for it.
12 wins now to your name. You entered this season with only 4. You have put double that on the board this season alone. You've gone from 4 wins and being well down the order in terms of the all-time win list. You'd be tied now with David Schutt, Chad Oxendine, Cody Miller, to now being 1 race behind Zoltan Hergzeg and Freddie De La Rosa. Once you pass them, and I think you clearly will, you're 4th outright, and you're behind only 3 drivers. Marcus Richardson, Bobby Zelensky, and Femi Olot. That's the company you're in.
That's pretty incredible to think about. I mean, Marcus, Bobby, Femi, you just named them off. They're like the legends of NORC and stuff. They're pretty much the faces of NORC. I mean, they're big. They're some of the greatest drivers in NORC ever, and I've had a chance to race against all 3 of them. So, especially, I mean, I got to race Femi last week for the win. So that was, I mean, it's just crazy to think about. But anyway, I got to thank First Rate Lobster 7, my personal sponsors, for all their support. I got to thank you guys for another broadcast. You guys kill it every single week. I don't say it, or I say it probably way too much, but you guys seriously kill it every single week. So thanks for all you guys do. I got to thank all the fans who watch us each and every week. Got to thank John Barry for running the league, all he does. Got to thank everyone who comes out and races each and every week. I know it wasn't the greatest of showings by us tonight, but that was to be expected. Hopefully we can have a better race next week. I got to thank all my friends and family for watching as well. And, yeah, that's it.
Well, buddy, it was a good race up front nonetheless. You kept that car really, really clean until when it mattered. You used it up a little bit, got that win back in sight, and took it away from Zoltan Hergzeg. Congratulations, buddy. This might be the hardest fought race of your entire season, and I guarantee you it's on the way to a championship at this point. Buddy, live it up. Have a good one, and we'll see you, I'm sure, next week at Darlington.
Appreciate it, Andrew. See you next week.
I'm just going to be honest. Daniel Falkingham is on his way to a championship. There's no other way to put it. He's got 40 points or more back to Zoltan Hergzeg. He's on his way to a championship, Eric. And a lot of drivers, all they can do is sit back and watch. One of those drivers being David Schutt, who finishes third on the evening. We're not able to get Zoltan Hergzeg, so next one in line is David Schutt.
And David is somebody who, we definitely enjoy being able to catch up with here. And he's had a very consistent season for sure. He's had a very consistent season, of course, is that of David Schutt. And we'll have the opportunity, hopefully, to pull him in here and talk to him based on what was, we'll call it an up and down night. David, first off, you were one of the very few leaders we had on the event tonight, but we saw you take the lead, and at some point, the back end of the car stepped out there. What happened?
Yeah, I just the car just got too far out, and then once you get too far, you can't save it. So luckily, I missed the pit entry, and I was able to get back going straight. So unfortunately, I think that cost me my best shot at winning. I think we were, or at least our top 3, were all really close. But I just spent the last half of the race or whatever trying to get my way back up there, and I just ran out of time to give Daniel and Zoltan a try. But yeah, it was a pretty long race.
In the heat race and eventually the 150-lap feature, as you said, you appear to have one of the best cars there tonight. I know that you have a lot to be proud of, that you were able to work your way back up to 3rd, but knowing that the car and the driver was that good, does that almost, is it a little bit of like a kick in the gut, wondering what could have been had you been able to stay up there throughout the night, or Are you happy to be able to salvage this evening in the way in which you did?
I don't really care either way, I guess. It was kind of a one-off special event. Yeah, it just was kind of a finish, just another finish.
Well, we got 4 races left to go. We're going back to some of the more conventional tracks like at Darlington, Phoenix, Chicago, and eventually Vegas. You've had a great season, albeit we haven't been able to see this car in victory lane in a NORC points-paying race just yet. Is that the agenda for these last 4 races? Just go for broke and just try to notch a tally in the win column?
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is left to go for. I hate Darlington. I think they should burn that track to the ground, but the rest of the tracks I think I have a decent shot at, so we'll see how they go.
It'll certainly be interesting to see how it all unfolds. I got to say, David, you put on a heck of a show being able to work your way from the back of the field up towards the front. You missed all the carnage that took place. A podium finish to celebrate. I know it's not the win you were looking for, but who makes it possible for you on nights like this?
I'd just like to thank Barry for running the league and all the viewers that showed up and watched.
Well, we'd like to thank you because I think that when all's said and done, you were by far the biggest mover as far as clean passes on the racetrack, and I'll emphasize that one because it was a rough one, and somehow you were able to keep that car clean getting back up towards the front, and you were able to settle in 3rd spot. Great run tonight, David. Looking forward to seeing what you have in store for the rest of the year, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
And again, that is David Schutt, who, as we mentioned, was able to go out there and led 29 laps. At one point was as low as 21st and worked his way back up in a podium contention with a 3rd place finish at the Checkers.
We'll move things back over to, I guess, the other platform, if you will, and we'll get Zach Lindgren finishing in the 4th place this evening in the number 85. And, buddy, we've talked a lot recently about the fact that you've gone road racing lately. That's a far cry from dirt racing, and I mean, we've been friends for a while. I know that you think dirt is for farming, granted that's soil and not dirt, but hey, you did pretty good on the dirt track this evening. You were up into 2nd for quite a while. A couple of cars got back to you, sure, but still a really, really good showing.
Yeah, we had a really good run tonight. After tonight, I don't think the car selection was right. I mean, we've seen Cup cars here, and we've seen I don't know if we've seen trucks here. I don't know. It's hard to keep up anymore with what NASCAR does. Okay, sure. So trucks here. I don't know about Xfinity cars, and tonight I think it was just proof why Xfinity cars did not come here for dirt. Tonight was frustrating and both fun at the same time. So tonight really didn't help the case of me, liking dirt. So, but no, like you were saying, we were up into 2nd. We were running really well. The track kind of went away from us. I was having trouble even turning the car into the corner. When it would turn, I would slide it way too much. So, Zoltan and Schutt had better rotation on me through the mid part of the race. And when they all went low on that final restart, I thought for sure they would group up and hopefully wreck the way Zoltan and Daniel were racing. But it didn't come. It didn't come like I wanted it to, but we'll tie our best finish for NORC and we'll keep moving forward. We've got a good string of finishes under our belt now.
2nd place is incredibly impressive to have run up there. Even though you fell down to 4th position, that's still incredibly impressive and is going to help you in the points. You had a pretty rough go of things. We covered the pit penalty at Indianapolis.
Oof.
Then we're pretty good last week at Texas. Really good this evening at Bristol. Now you've got 4 very different races from the last 3. You've got Darlington in a week's time, which thankfully you guys all have official races to help use as preparation for. And then you've got Phoenix, which is going to be very different. Then Chicagoland, which hasn't been run at all this season. And Las Vegas to cap off the season. How do you prepare for those 4 races?
Really, I don't try to put any expectation on myself when it comes to any different track. If I do and I don't meet them, I get extremely frustrated rather quickly, and I start either overdriving, underdriving, or the night doesn't go my way. So realistically, we're just looking forward to Darlington. I have a pretty good track record at Darlington. I feel like I'm relatively decent at Darlington. So right now we're just looking forward to that. It's a really fun track. After that, with Phoenix being in there, Phoenix is a rough track, especially on the Xfinity cars, or with the Xfinity cars. So right now it's just a matter of you're getting through Darlington decently. It's very narrow. So right now what I'm looking forward to is Darlington. Chicagoland sounds extremely fun. I love Chicagoland, and I hated that it got taken off of the legitimate NASCAR schedule. So I'm looking forward to that race over all the others.
Fair enough, buddy. Now, it's looking like Daniel is clearing away the championship favorite. There's no argument there, but you can certainly race your way through this field quite a bit. You now sit in the 8th spot. Now, that might sound like you're quite a ways behind, but that's only 5 points behind Sean Williams, 14 behind Brett Pincari, 14 as well behind Chad Oxendine, and 18 behind David Shutt. You're close to really moving up through this field. What is the game plan then? I just asked you how you prepare for those races. What is the game plan for those races?
Consistency. If you're not consistent, then you don't really get anywhere. You could pop off a few wins, but if you pop off a few wins and then finish 20 plus every other race, it doesn't really matter. So consistency, really. Ryan Newman did it the first time the chase happened in NASCAR. I feel like I'm decently consistent when it comes to any track that we go to. I feel like I can be decently consistent inside the top 10. So that's all it really takes. Just consistency, keeping the car clean, letting the others around you make their own mistakes and capitalizing when they do.
Well, that's Zach Lindgren, finishing in the 4th position this evening from Dirt Bristol. Buddy, who do you want to thank? Who do you want to shout out? Who makes it happen for you?
I got to give a huge shout out to HMS Motorsport, Racecom, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and NASCAR Diecast fans. A huge shout out to NASCAR Diecast fans for always being on the car, always repping. Huge shout out to Elite Motorsports. Obviously, my teammate for also being here tonight, pushing me across the finish line pretty much tonight. So a huge shout out to Jared tonight. You up here on the booth doing what you guys do, dedicating your time to the league. Everyone back at home watching, I hope we put on a good show for y'all. The brave men and women overseas defending us. That's all we got.
So Zach Lindgren finishing in the 4th spot after starting 8th, moving up to 2nd. Pretty good night overall for the 85 car. Buddy, we'll let you go. Hopefully we're talking to you in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Zach Lindgren gets things done from the Bristol Motor Speedway. And I do want to say, we're just going to keep pumping up Zach's ego a little bit. I was talking to my buddy David Levine earlier, who runs one of his cars in the Lucky Dog Racing League that Zach was competed in, and they were having a lot of fun down at Carolina Motorsports Park a couple of weeks ago. One thing that David said to me recently was that he is welcome. That Zach is welcome in any of David's race cars ever. I think that shows that this guy has got some car control, has got some racecraft, and was able to mix it up with the best of the best in the series this evening, and is here to stay as a NORC regular. It's his first season. Keep in mind, this is his rookie season with these guys. Never raced with some of these guys before, and he's done a fantastic job of it, and he notches himself a 4th place finish in these results, Eric.
Yeah, and also, great interview, by the way, Zach Lindgren, who, as you mentioned, came home in 4th. Obviously, we didn't get a chance to catch up with Zoltan Herczeg, who was our runner-up here tonight, 2nd in championship points. And you just have to wonder, to have the season that Zoltan is having and just having one car that is constantly being able to be one spot better than you want tonight, like we had tonight, it's just got to be super frustrating. But Falkingham with his 8th win, Herczeg shut our podium, Lindgren, and Jared Wishon, who also has only made a handful of starts in that number 27 car, ends up the night in the top 5. Beautiful looking machine that he had, and a beautiful looking result for him as well. Brent Pincari, quiet night. In fact, status quo for Pincari and how he runs these NORC races on a place that ensued chaos, or where chaos ensued, I should say. We rarely knew that Pincari was in the field, and I say that in the best way possible. A quiet 6th for him. Chad Oxendine came back from a couple of cautions for 7th. Sean Williams, who we heard was irate at one point in this race, as irate as Sean Williams could be, being that he's a mild-mannered individual, in 8th. John Berry 9th, and Jared Darling rounds out your top 10.
Moving on down to 11th in the order, it's Josh Robin in the number 8 car. Brand new paint scheme for him, right in front of Spencer Owens and Cody Miller, the Daytona winner. And then in front of Tom Mercier and Howie Briss for the top 15. Painful to see Howie drop that far down the running order. Michael Keithley, for all intents and purposes, survives and gets up into 16th in front of Hayes Booth and Terrell Baker in the 18th spot. Cole Freilich, the one dirt racer, I suppose, that I thought would have been much further up the running order, finishes in 19th. That's pretty painful. Last car on the lead lap there for Cole Freilich. Sheldon Lockie, first car, 1 lap down.
And now we get back to the final page of results. Matt Hummel, who had a, we'll call it Star Spangled Night, in 21st position. Will Klein was involved in the crash. Late in the going, his rough chase continues. 22nd. Tommy Gossett did not make it to the checkered flag, 48 laps shy. Bobby Chaney, in fact, was the first retiree of the race, as Aaron Smith and Scott Shire registered for the session but did not take the green flag. So, Andrew, we were talking about the lead up to this one. Emerson, you and I, and we knew it was going to be rough. We just didn't know how rough. And practice kind of gave us a glimpse as to what we thought we were going to see. And I think the results show that, and the caution flag statistics show, it was a rough one, but it was a fun one. And I think that's what we could take away from this round as we get back to somewhat of a normal swing of things for the final 4 races, where everybody, at least the 3 drivers we talked to, appear to be looking forward to it.
And let's be clear, never did we expect green flag racing this evening. We didn't expect to go through long green runs. We knew this was going to be a challenging race that likely had some yellows. These guys don't race dirt regularly. These guys race ovals, maybe some road courses. These guys are not super well versed in dirt racing. While yes, iRacing does promote that cross, discipline racing out of a driver, that's not always the case. We knew these guys would have some troubles this evening. We knew we would have a higher amount of yellows than ever before. Or maybe not ever before, but at least than regular this season. This was a bit expected, so yes, this kind of falls within the category of expectations, but no, did we want to see this by any means. Can this happen again? Should this happen again? I think also yes. We learned a lot with the NASCAR's first trip to dirt in 70 years back in March. And while yes, that race had a lot of problems as well, I think everybody wants to see it back, and it's confirmed to be happening again. Think about that. Bristol is trucking in dirt again. That's pretty incredible. They're willing to go through that kind of track transformation for the 2nd year running. We haven't even run on concrete again there this year, so should this happen in the future? I personally think yes. With the Xfinity cars, maybe, maybe not. I don't think it was the car that was the problem. I think maybe the setup could use some refinement. I think maybe the drivers need to think a little bit more. I'm just going to be honest. I think this race is still overall a decent success. Maybe not the race any of us wanted, but also there was a lot of action. There was a lot for us to talk about. Never were we bored.
Yeah, and that's probably the best way to sum things up here. We were entertained all the way throughout, and some drivers were frustrated, but I think Sean Williams, that interview that we did there mid-race after watching he and Matt Hummel go for a tussle that seemed to last about 3 laps, half of which was under caution, he said, I'm frustrated, I'm mad, short track tempers, whatever, but I'm having fun. And I think that's what the general consensus of tonight was. Yeah, some guys didn't get the result that they wanted. David Shutt obviously was a little bit dejected with what could have been. But when all was said and done, obviously Daniel Falkingham as the winner seemed to have a good time. But a lot of the guys in the midfield who were using the concrete wall in order to catch their cars getting up into the corner and into the banking, I think they're going to leave here tonight perhaps a little bit sore by how much sawing on the wheel they had to do. But I think they're going to look back on this event and think, that was a lot of fun, because I know that's what we're going to do.
Now, before we go any further, earlier we mentioned the fact that Hurricane Ida made a pretty large impact in the southern United States this week. First, thoughts and prayers to everybody in the area down south that may be experiencing some flooding right now and is trying to recover, and certainly anybody that is in the area that Ida may yet impact. I know it's working through our area here, the Iredell County, Eric, but I also want to mention good luck to several drivers out of the NORC iRacing series that are taking part in Podium Esports Retro 500 this week. There's a lot of them on this list, actually, including Chad Oxendine, who rolls off 3rd tomorrow. Now, if you don't know what the Retro 500 is, they're taking, NASCAR, 1987 NASCAR Cup cars, the Monte Carlo and the Thunderbird, to Darlington. It's the Retro 500. Makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? Chad Oxendine, again, rolls off 3rd place for the start of that one. Anthony Emery starts from the 12th position. Let's see, let's keep rolling on down the list. I know there were more on this list. I just got to get down to them. And it actually might be all from NORC, now that I think about it. Yes, that's all from NORC. But there is one other driver on that list that we'll talk about a little bit tomorrow, potentially, because Zachary Murtis from the Cars Esports Tour is also on that list. He starts from the 34th position, if I'm getting my math right here. The outside of row 17, yes, that should be 34th. So a couple of drivers that we want to wish a lot of luck to tomorrow. I believe is when the race is. It might not be, but whenever the race is, the Retro 500 coming up. Best of luck to you guys, Chad Oxendine, Anthony Emery, and Zachary Murtis. Now, that out of the way, of course, we also want to thank our partners here at Pit Stop TV, Tucson Sound Art, where your picture is your music, Eric. Use promo code PitStopTV at 10% checkout for 10... Sorry, no, it's not how you say that. That's... No, nuh-uh. Use the code PitStopTV for 10% off of your order at checkout. There we go. Do also, of course, want to thank our partner, Race Pay Setups, where... Nope, that wasn't it right either. You know, these drivers had their own issues on the racetrack. Eric, I don't think I'm going to be able to get through this, buddy. I'm going to have to turn this over to you.
I'll take the handoff. Now, our friends at Race Pace Setups. As someone who does not spend a lot of time in the sim, I need some help on the setup side, especially when it comes to road racing. Our friends at Race Pace have you covered. You can pick up your pace at Race Pace with Race Pace Setups. Visit the Discord link on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen to learn more. We also want to thank our premier partner and supporter, Permanent Makeup in Maine. Ashley Bullier, who is a certified and micropigmentation specialist. My wife just walked in the room and is very surprised that this is a sponsor read that we are giving off right now. But they will be the ones who can help you look your absolute best all throughout the year. And permanentmakeupinmaine.com to learn more. Again, that's permanentmakeupinmaine.com. Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. We are also presented by, of course, Whiplash Media, the official camera provider of Pit Stop TV. To learn more about all that they have for you and to pick up your iBroadcast camera setups, visit pitstoptv.com/whiplash. Finally, we have our newest partner on the Pit Stop TV platform, BAM Racing Videos. Our buddy Brandon Metler, who is always traveling around somewhere. He always has his camera on him, and he also supports numerous other racing videographers who are in the same field. Brandon is someone who Andrew and I both know personally. His work is phenomenal, and his support of short track racing and Pit Stop TV extends right here to the events that we broadcast, like the NORC iRacing Series. That's BAM Racing Videos, by a race fan and for the racing community. I'll tell you what, Andrew, it's been that kind of night, man. My wife just came in here to show us that the cat chewed through one of her headphones, so that was the reason for the disruption on my end. We had chaos on the racetrack. We've had chaos on the production truck. We've had chaos off the racetrack. It's just been the theme for this dirt race at Bristol. Fortunately for all of us, it's in the books. It's time to focus forward to Darlington.
It's all that dirt in the air, dust in my eyes, I don't know, something like that. But it's been a wild one this evening for sure, and a lot is going to change throughout the standings. A lot is coming up as well in Pit Stop TV's future. The next couple of weeks are going to be pretty interesting. Tomorrow evening, the Cars Esport Tour is back on the channel. We've got Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. What a race it was back in June for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, where Caden Honeycutt, rookie in the series, put up his first career win from Justin Johnson Racing. Justin Johnson should be in the field tomorrow night at Langley Speedway. Then a little bit later on in the evening, actually simulcasting, I suppose, if you will, the Outlaws Sim Series will take to the twists and bends of Watkins Glen International. Emerson Arden will be on the coverage for that as per usual. And on Thursday, it's race 7 of 8 for the North American Racing League. A lot is coming to you with those guys. Of course, they've got race 7 of 8 at the Red Bull Ring. First time we're going to the Red Bull Ring on Pit Stop TV, but also they're coming up to the championship, and they've got a special event coming up later in this month, I suppose, that we're almost into. In less than 3 hours, we'll be into September. That's pretty crazy to think about in and of itself, but we will have a special event, a 4-hour race coming up very, very soon. You do not want to miss that. September the 25th, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to get that one rolling, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A little bit early for us here in the States, potentially, especially if you're on the West Coast, but that's going to be fun. 4 hours of racing from Long Beach, no less, in GT3 cars. It's going to be fun. There's also other racing, not just these 3 broadcasts coming up this week, but we also have the MSRA National Series headed to I got to think here. Darlington. Actually, yeah, Darlington Raceway on Friday. Then, well, Eric, you're headed out to Carteret County Speedway with the Smart Modified Tour on Saturday. We wrap around. We're going to have NORC, of course, on Tuesday with, my brain isn't working. It's Nork, Chase, Darlington, that one again. We've got 2 broadcasts from Darlington back to back, because I do want to be clear, while Eric is having fun at Carteret County, that's not on the channel here, that's on Speed 51, but we've got a lot coming up, is the point. And you want to be here, you want to follow along with all of it here at Pit Stop TV on our social media channels, and they're listed for you below.
Yeah, we have so much going on, and I think that Andrew and I are both a little bit gassed after the weekend that we had, and that's the race that we had here tonight. Of course, Andrew travels with the Cars Tour on the production crew there with Cars Tour TV, and as he mentioned, I was head on some Smart Modified duties, and we're in the heat or the heart of the race schedule. So the best way that you can stay up to speed with everything that's going on the channel are the social media links that you see on the bottom portion of your screen. Facebook.com/pitstoptv/ Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV/ which, by the way, Emerson Arden, who's handling our social media duties, I went just now to the Instagram feed, and he's already got some incredible sights, sounds, and images and news updates as to how tonight's race unfolded, and we haven't even gotten off the air yet. Twitter.com/pitstoptv_/ and my go-to preface to kind of tune on what's going on here if I'm not on the particular broadcast or call of an event. YouTube.com/C/pitstoptv1/ I use the Roku app and the Roku with the YouTube app in order to check out what's going on there. And that's my plan for tomorrow with the Outlaw Sim Series, when Emerson puts on the lead commentary hat and the production lead hat there as well. And that's the next time that you'll be able to catch what we've got going on here on Pit Stop TV before we come back for Nork in 1 week's time.
Yeah, so just to recap, tomorrow night we've got the Cars Esports Tour from Langley and the Outlaw Sim Series from Watkins Glen. You'll want to make sure to tune in for both if you can. If you go back and forth, I don't know what kind of dance you're going to do to try and catch both, but I urge you to at least make one, if not both, of those broadcasts. That will do it, finally, from the Bristol Motor Speedway, covered in dirt this time. The longest broadcast I think we've had all season potentially here, Eric, and we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you will tune in next time here at Pit Stop TV. For all of Pit Stop TV, Eric Brennan beside me on the mic this evening, Emerson Arden on social media. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. Thank you so much for tuning in for this wild and difficult night of racing. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Just after the Ace race and right before Caraway, the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour made yet another visit to here at The Rock at Rockingham Speedway. The purpose? Yet another Hoosier tire test to try to determine the perfect construction and compound for the end-of-year event here at Rockingham. And after today's activities, the series, the tire manufacturer, and the drivers all seem to be happy with what they learned here at The Rock.
Tire test went really, really well. Hoosier, their engineers were here. The CEO of Hoosier was here. Brought us a lot of tires. We went through a lot of combinations, and I think we got a tire that'll put on a heck of a show here.
Rockingham is about like Darlington, you know, it's a one-off track. The surface is pretty abrasive and tough to make sure that you have plenty of tire wear. So we decided we'd come back down here and do a test with Riggs and with Peters, and had really good results today. I mean, we're very happy with the way everything went. Made long runs on the tires.
The tires we ran today, we ran a bunch of different compounds, and I'd say we had 6 or 7 different kinds of sets. The set Timothy is out there on right now, I was pretty happy with. I feel like it was a pretty good tire that consistently fell off, came in. And it had some wear there at the end, like it should. We ran about 35, 40 laps on them, and they held up a lot better than I was expecting, and I was happy to see what I saw.
And it's going to be your typical Rockingham, where I think in a 25-lap run we fell off a second, you know, so that fall off is great. I think it produces great racing. You got to have fall off, and it's going to be, I think you'll have different packs, you know, but I think it puts it back in the hands of the drivers, and who doesn't love slipping and sliding? I know this guy does.
By the time we finished today, Bo said, we can race this tire. We can race this tire. And that was enough for me right there.
They had really good feedback about how the cars drove through the corner. And if you take a look at the track compared to when we first got here this morning, the track started rubbering in. You started getting rubber in it, so the tire wear got easier. And the way they drove it was really good and very little fall off. So they give really good feedback, and we're really happy with today.
I think they've selected a really good tire to come back. It can withstand the load. It doesn't tear like we had in the problems in December. So Hoosier and Irish done a great job. It's hammer down for a couple of laps, get all you can, and then it's up to you to start saving and make it towards the end. But it's just so much fun.
Before it was kind of a light switch. You'd be good, and then all of a sudden you just fall on your face with speed. This time it was more of a gradual fall, and as a driver that feels a lot more consistent and better and more comfortable.
We've made the decision we are going to run 100 laps, and it's going to be an 8-tire race. We are not going to mandate when they change their tires. So they're going to come here and they're going to practice and they're going to test and they're going to figure it out for themselves. We don't do that. But they're going to have 4 tires in their pit that they can use and under cautions, and we're going to run the controlled cautions. So there's no live pit stops, no need for that. They'll have plenty of time to change their tires, make some adjustments, and do whatever they need to do and maintain their track position.
I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be fast track, and right there on that long run, I feel like I was kind of in a groove, getting in that race groove and having to back my corners up and slow down and starting to move around the track a little bit. So hopefully multiple lanes will come in and it'll be a good race.
I just want everybody to know that there's as good of vibes today as there was bad 3 or 4 months ago.
And there you have it. Everybody tickled pink with what they learned here today at Rockingham Speedway. The manufacturer, the drivers, the series, everybody is excited about what's to come at the end of the Cars Tour season this year. And if you didn't catch it, yes, the date has changed to Saturday, November 6th. We wanted to get away from some other events in the region to make the best experience for our fans and make sure they can make all the races in this area that they really, truly want to hit. So everything's looking good. The tires look great. The cars are looking great. The track's looking good. And it's going to look even better when you join us here at Rockingham on Saturday, November 6th for the season finale for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. Can't be with us? Make sure you catch it live on carstour.tv.